against Plymouth Argyle of League One. 48 places separating the two teams. It's a strong Chelsea lineup with Andreas Christensen in for Thiago Silva. Their only change from the team that beat Tottenham in the Premier League 2 weeks ago tomorrow. And it's Chelsea raiding down their right-hand side straight away. Ziyech with a cross into the centre, headed clear by Dan Scarr. The home side wasting little time to get on the front foot, and Ziyech looking to pick out Hudson-Odoi, and the goalkeeper spilt it. And in the end, he's grateful that the right wing-back Joe Edwards was there to mop up the danger, Sam Parkin.
Yeah, it's just a delicious ball in from Ziyech, just tempts the goalkeeper out to try and make an intervention, which he does just about. Hudson-Odoi was nicely positioned around the back of James Wilson, needed the goalkeeper to come out and take command, and he did.
No Thomas Tuchel here this afternoon, having tested positive for COVID. Chelsea due to fly out to the UAE for the World Club Cup later. Arnaud Michel's, Tuchel's assistant, is orchestrating proceedings from the technical area. Chelsea with Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal, Azpilicueta, Rudiger, Christensen and Sarr in defence, Mount, Jorginho and Kovacic in midfield. Ziyech and Hudson-Odoi involved already either side of Lukaku up front. For Plymouth, Cooper the goalkeeper, to back three of Wilson, Scarr and Gillespie, Edwards and Grant the wing-backs, former Chelsea youngster Houghton deepest in midfield, with Camara back from AFCON alongside Mayer in behind Jethcott and Garrick up front. Here is Antonio Rudiger launching it long up into the West London sky for Chelsea. Picked up in the centre of the Plymouth half by Camara. They don't keep it for very long though. And here is Hudson-Odoi, a goal scorer in the last round against Chesterfield, trying to dance his way into the area. He's been forced back by Edwards, but here is Malang Sarr, and he switches the play into the centre of the Plymouth half, and it's picked up by Christensen. Azpilicueta rolls it out to the right-hand side. Here's Ziyech again, but in good form in the Premier League of late. Hakim Ziyech, held up on the edge of the penalty area, so he gives it back to his captain Azpilicueta. And here is Ziyech again, over on that far touchline. Left-footed ball into the area, headed clear by Edwards, but only to the edge of the box, and the follow-up effort is drilled wide by Kovacic.
Yeah, no surprises to this point. Plymouth very much back in a five when they're defending. Grant and Edwards, two very reliable wing-backs. They're going to have to pick and choose their opportunities to get forward. Plymouth invariably attack with the six, the two centre-forwards, the two number eights and the two wing-backs. Can't do that today. One of them will have to stay at home and make sure you have that security. But Chelsea, with all the possession to this point, just didn't get the power behind his strike there. Kovacic, and the similar to position to which he scored recently spectacularly against Liverpool, so definitely been capable, more so this season where he's been getting a few more assists and a few more goals than we've been used to seeing in the blue shirt.
And don't forget, we've got a feast of live football coming your way on this FA Cup fourth round Saturday over on Talk Sport right now. It's Kidderminster Harriers of non-league taking on West Ham United here on Talk Sport 2. The 3 o'clock offering is Everton against Brentford, Frank Lampard's first game as Everton manager at 5:30. We have Championship fare, Swansea taking on Blackburn, and then the 8 o'clock kick-off again in the FA Cup on Talk Sport 2 is Tottenham against Brighton. You literally don't need to leave your sofa. Remember, the easiest way to swipe between the two stations is by downloading the Talk Sport app. As Plymouth win a throw right in front of the home dugout. We're in the third row of the press box, not too far from the touchline in the lower tier of the main stand here at Stamford Bridge. As Plymouth try and play the ball towards the Chelsea penalty area, away to our right. Chelsea all in blue, barring the White Sox. Plymouth in their away strip, the predominantly white jerseys, white shorts and green socks. And they've been drawn away in each of their 4 FA Cup rounds so far this season. In fact, 8 of their last 10 matches, Sam Parkin, in all competitions have been on the road.
Yeah, been a tough period for them. A little bit inconsistent, maybe, since Schumacher came in to the #1 spot. But you know, won't be overawed, considering they went to Birmingham, won in the last round. You know, saw that challenge off quite comfortably, but just need to get through this first period. Chelsea dominating proceedings, as you would imagine, and just unable to get hold of the ball to this point, Plymouth.
They've already knocked out Rochdale and Sheffield Wednesday as Ziyech lets fly from the edge of the area, portraying that confidence that comes with being amongst the goals recently. Wasn't the cleanest strike, again left-footed, easily saved down low to the left by Exeter-born Mike Cooper, the Plymouth Argyle goalkeeper.
Yeah, he'll be relieved he's got a couple of early touches and good ones at that. I mean, Ziyech was phenomenal, I felt, in that Tottenham game recently. His delivery with his left side, the variety that he was putting in was sublime. Not something we've seen with great regularity since he's been at the club. But I think interesting today, Crookie, for the front three players, especially the two flanking Lukaku. They're banging form right now. Need to continue in that vein, and another chance to see Chelsea playing in a back four, which you know, they haven't done too often under Thomas Tuchel.
Mason Mount into the penalty area, trying to pull it back for Kovacic, who in the end went in with a heavy challenge, and the referee belatedly awards a free kick. I think it's Camera down inside the area. Mason Mount sprinting to the touchline, cut the ball back just slightly under hit.
Yeah, it was Conor Grant went to ground, looked like he'd done enough, but Mason Mount able to ride that challenge, and Camera doing some great defensive work, getting in there and nicking it off the toe of Kovacic. He'll be important today. He brings them real energy, box to box. Camera and Danny Mayer alongside him, technically very gifted midfielder. It'll be his job to get between the lines and try and keep possession for Plymouth when they're trying to play out, because it's not going to be easy. He's the one that's got the ability to keep things ticking, so I think that's why he's probably in the side today.
His is an interesting backstory as well. Panucci Camera made his name playing non-league football with Dulwich Hamlet. As Christensen heads the ball clear on the edge of the Chelsea penalty area. We've played 7 minutes here on TalkSport 2 on game day. Chelsea 0, Plymouth Argyle 0 in the fourth round of the FA Cup. And don't forget to tune into Breakfast on TalkSport on Monday, packed with big name guests from the boxing world. Eddie Hearn, Jake Paul, and the two-time world champion Katie Taylor, all on the running order as Plymouth win a free kick over on the left-hand side. Ziyech with a clumsy challenge, and this is a chance, Sam Parkin, for the visitors to load up the Chelsea penalty area. It was Conor Grant who was taken out by Ziyech.
Yeah, of course, you focus on these more than ever, I think, in these type of ties.
Well, it's not a bad delivery, and it's been headed in. Plymouth Argyle take the lead at Stamford Bridge. I think it's Macaulay Gillespie who got the final touch. It was a wicked delivery, and the former Newcastle United youngster sends 6,000 Argyle fans into raptures. What a start in West London. The European champions behind against the team from League One. It is Chelsea 0, Plymouth Argyle 1.
Yeah, it's a beautifully flighted delivery right into the area that you want it, and I think it's Gillespie, as you said, Alex, that goes up with Lukaku. I'm not sure who it is that gets the touch. It is the left-sided centre-half who wheels away, and as he should do, he's up behind Lukaku. Just a bit of contact on the Belgian centre-forward to ease him out. Don't think there's a foul there, and he cushions it into the far post. There is a delay. They're probably having a look at it because there's a bit of contact on the centre-forward. Not enough for me, though. That should be a goal.
All eyes on the referee, Simon Hooper, just awaiting the nod to get the game restarted from Stockley Park. Stephen Schumacher, hand in his pockets, the goal stands. Plymouth Argyle lead at Stamford Bridge. And not too many people saw this coming, Sam Parkin.
I'll tell you what, it's a terrific header, actually, but Chelsea defensively have to do better. Lukaku's in a good position, possibly just lost his bearings, maybe got eased out of the proceedings. You're not going to expect to get a chance of that ease, I suppose, inside around the 6-yard box so early at Stamford Bridge. That had to be defended better, but what a start for the visitors.
And the travelling fans jumping as one in the lower tier of the shed end to our left, that have left home in the early hours of this morning. Suddenly that long journey seems worthwhile. Here's Hudson-Odoi though, into the penalty area, cuts it back for Lukaku. Kovacic with a shot off the underside of the bar and away. Maybe Mike Cooper got the faintest of touches. Chelsea so close to being level.
Yeah, this is where you need to stay composed. You need to have ice in the veins from a Plymouth perspective. They're steamed into a few challenges straight from that kick-off, and Chelsea very nearly back on equal terms.
There's Malong Sarr up from the back. Is he brought down on the edge of the penalty area by Camera? Referee says no, and Camera stretches those long legs, makes his way into Chelsea territory. He's got two ahead of him. It's a long-busting burst from Edwards, the wing-back. Maybe a chance to cross here, Edwards. Blocked behind by Jorginho. Plymouth have a corner, and a roar goes up from the travelling hordes again.
Yeah, just highlighting Camera's importance there, driving them all the way up the pitch, almost from the midpoint of his own half, getting them up there, and Edwards on the overlap had to come in earlier. Jephcott was perfectly positioned. If Edwards, who's got the capability, flashed that in a little bit quicker, then Christensen was definitely struggling there, took the touch, and Chelsea just about able to recover.
Well, they scored from the last set piece, Plymouth Argyle. What can they do with this corner? It's going to be taken from the right-hand side, so will be a left-footed in-swinger, defended better by Chelsea this time. Azpilicueta with a header away at the near post, comes down for Camera on the edge of the penalty area, couldn't quite bring it under control, but the ball floated back out to this right-hand side. And Plymouth remain on the front foot. Here is Danny Mayer now, their experienced EFL campaigner for the Pilgrims. Chelsea 0, Plymouth Argyle 1, for those of you just joining us here on TalkSport 2. What a start for the visitors. Macaulay Gillespie with his first ever Argyle goal. What a time to score it.
Yeah, not bad. And that little spell of possession there will give them encouragement as well. Good counter-attack, and then Danny Mayer getting the chance to get on the ball and settle down, play a few passes. What a start to this game. Limited Chelsea, just a couple of speculative efforts from distance, and then Kovacic just on the back of Plymouth scoring the opening goal. As I said, they blew into a few challenges unnecessarily, and then a bit of an overload, very nearly got caught out straight away.
Here's Garrick bringing the ball down neatly on the edge of the penalty area, forced away from goal by Rudiger. At the moment, only Jephcott in the centre, but the cavalry arriving now, and it's cut back towards Jephcott. Camera wants it pulled back to him, shoots left-footed. Good block by Sarr, half-hearted penalty appeals, and then a foul by Jephcott on the edge of the area on Jorginho before shooting wide. Impressive start from Plymouth Argyle.
I think that's in. You know, if Sarr's not there, obviously the keeper was slightly unsighted. It's wonderful play down the left-hand side, Conor Grant, and then the athleticism of Garrick. That's why he's in the side today, to stretch that back line. He recycles it intelligently. The pass square for Camera, superb, and I think that was angled perfectly towards that far corner. Big block.
If they could get a second goal, those travelling fans really would be in dreamland. And I know Michel's doesn't look at all happy. Chelsea stand-in manager. Here's Hudson-Odoi into the penalty area, but out comes Cooper, all in lime green, sliding to collect the ball for the men from Devon. He's just taking his time, Cooper, over getting play restarted. Plymouth Argyle's young player of last season, having taken hold of the #1 jersey at the start of the campaign. Sarr being put under pressure from Cooper's long ball by Jordan Garrick, plays it back to his own goalkeeper, Kepa Arrizabalaga, and here come Chelsea over the halfway line. 1-0 down, the European champions. I have to say, Argyle, good value for that lead at the moment, with 14 minutes played on TalkSport 2. Again, the visitors go long, it's collected down by the corner flag by Arrizabalaga, who takes the throw at himself, the goalkeeper. It's a sign that Chelsea are in a hurry to try and get back on level terms. Stephen Schumacher, who played alongside Wayne Rooney in the FA Youth Cup final during his Everton days, just takes a swig of water.
He looks nervous, Crookie. Actually, that goal will have settled him down, but I kept my eye on him when he came out and saluted the supporters, and he looked a little bit edgy. I mean, it's incredible for him. I think 4 years ago he was taking Everton's under-11s or something, so quite the trajectory.
Azpilicueta with a cross towards the near post, Lukaku lurking, but headed clear by the goal scorer Gillespie. Chelsea on the attack again with Ziyech, dinks it into the area. Edwards steers it away, only as far as Jorginho, and now Malang Sarr raiding down the left-hand side. Here's Kovacic. You've seen plenty of the ball early on for Chelsea. That cross is a poor one. The goalkeeper spilt it, though, not for the first time. Cooper's handling not quite as he would have liked, and in the end it's stabbed clear by James Wilson, the Welsh international.
It wasn't a good delivery from Kovacic, but he looked a bit nervy, the goalkeeper, understandably. You know, big day for him, but from what I hear, got absolutely everything in his armoury to go on and have a top career. Local lad, him and Jeff got, of course, the centre forward, and had great starts to their Plymouth careers.
Here's Hudson-Odoi. Can't keep the ball in play down by the corner flag right in front of the travelling Plymouth fans who enjoyed that one. It's a goal kick for Stephen Schumacher's side. They lead 1-0 here on TalkSport 2. Macaulay Gillespie with the early headed goal after out-jumping Lukaku. Terrific header into the corner, no chance for Kepa Arrizabalaga. Still goalless between non-league Kidderminster and West Ham over on TalkSport. And don't forget, coming up later, 3 o'clock, it's Everton against Brentford. Frank Lampard's first game as Everton manager in the FA Cup 4th round. If you want the usual comprehensive goal service, Dan Windle will be in the chair from Selhurst Park over on TalkSport from 2:30 this afternoon. Crystal Palace against Hartlepool. Some terrific FA Cup ties up and down the country, all of them covered on the TalkSport network. Of course, here's the blue-booted Azpilicueta for Chelsea. The sun's still shining in West London, but Chelsea's outlook a bit gloomier now, having lost their manager Thomas Tuchel from the touchline due to a positive COVID test. They've lost the early goal, not quite the preparation they would have wanted for the upcoming World Club Cup. Plymouth confidently playing the ball out from the back, and Christensen had to win the header on the halfway line, otherwise Garrick would have been in on goal. They're dominating possession, Chelsea, but at the moment, Sam, Plymouth have defended well.
They have, and that was Jordan Houghton plugging gaps. Big job for him, not in only terms of breaking up the play, but also starting the Plymouth attacks. But he was well positioned there to stop that last Mason Mount delivery.
Here's Ziyech, right corner of the penalty area. Checks one side, then the other. Still in possession here, Ziyech. Rolls it towards Kovacic, but again, well defended by Plymouth Argyle and by Camera in particular, who brings the ball clear and plays it to the right-hand side. The wing-back Edwards. It's asking an awful lot of Jordan Garrick. Rudiger comes across the German and plays it back to Kepa Arrizabalaga, his goalkeeper, all in grey. 17 minutes gone, Chelsea 0, Plymouth Argyle 1. I don't think we thought we'd be saying that before kick-off, particularly when we saw the strength of the Chelsea lineup. This is pretty much the strongest 11 available to the European champions. They trail by a goal to 0. Here's Mason Mount, tries to just knock the ball around Conor Grant, who stood firm, and then clears it upfield. Garrick felt he was being manhandled by Christensen. Referee tries to allow the game to flow, and out comes Kepa Arrizabalaga a long way outside the area to pick up possession for Chelsea. Now Hudson-Odoi in the left wing position, just in front of us. And Malong Sarr plays it back into his own half, and Antonio Rudiger. All of the noise inside Stamford Bridge, a sold-out Stamford Bridge, is being generated by those travelling hordes from Home Park. And here is Malong Sarr into the Plymouth half, plays it out to the left-hand side, and Hudson-Odoi, who's hugging this touchline, looking for Lukaku in the middle. Lukaku trying to bring it under control. Again, well defended. That back three at the moment, Sam Parkin have done a good job on Romelu Lukaku.
Yeah, Gillespie at the other end there, just doubling up alongside Dan Scarr, making sure that Lukaku couldn't do what he's all about, feel that individual centre-half and roll him either side. He can go and get his finish away. Gillespie doubling up made that very difficult for Lukaku.
Kovacic tries to sweep the ball out to the right-hand side. Mason Mount beaten in the air by Grant, but Grant loses sight of the loose ball, and Chelsea will get across into the area here, over the head of Lukaku, and guided clear by Edwards, and it's 2 against 3 here, and that's going to be a yellow card for sure. Jorginho grappling inside the centre circle with Jeffcott, and straight away the referee goes for his pocket. It's a cynical foul, just as Plymouth had a good opportunity, Sam Parkin, to launch the counter-attack.
It comes off the back of a good chance for Chelsea there. For the second time in this game, Callum Hudson-Odoi's on his heels, needs to be getting across Joe Edwards, the Plymouth wing-back there. It was a tantalising delivery once more from Ziyech, and makes it far too easy for the Plymouth man. I mean, I can see the game plan here is a clever one from Plymouth. You've got the hold-up play of Jeffcott. He just showed that. You've got the pace of Garrick on the shoulder, and you've got the running power of Camera coming from deeper to get them up the pitch. So I think they've got, 3 ways there really to raise a little bit of pressure that maybe that's going to build on their back line throughout the proceedings this afternoon. And it seems to be a very balanced Plymouth offence that we're seeing here this afternoon, and I can see why they've gone for this personnel.
And the Plymouth Argyle fans taunting their host with chants of, is this a library? As the cross from Hudson-Odoi into the area again is dealt with comfortably enough. Danny Mayer in the end, the left foot volley into the Chelsea half, and Christensen again is in a bit of a wrestling match on that far side with Jordan Garrick, and the referee finally gives a free kick. Garrick and Jeffcott with their movement causing the Chelsea back line plenty of trauma in the opening 21 minutes. Plymouth Argyle leading by 1-0 here on TalkSport 2.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nothing ball forward that's made into a very useful ball just by great quality front play from Jordan Garrick. He's second favourite throughout that, but uses his body, uses his sharpness to be a real thorn in the side of Christensen, who at the moment is having real difficulty handling him.
You're listening to live coverage of the FA Cup on TalkSport 2 thanks to Neutrogena T-Gel Therapeutic Shampoo. Not too much therapeutic about the afternoon for Chelsea so far. 1-0 behind against a team 48 places below them in the league pyramid. And of course, the FA Cup started with a giant killing live on TalkSport last night. Manchester United ousted on penalties by Middlesbrough. On TalkSport right now, you can listen to Kidderminster Harriers against West Ham United. 0-0 in that tie. 1-0 to Plymouth Argyle here. Plymouth who've won only 2 of the previous 17 meetings against Chelsea. History not on their side. But if Chelsea are to progress into round 5, they're going to have to do it from behind. Remember, no replays in the 4th round, so this tie will be decided one way or another this afternoon. Here's Hudson-Odoi into the penalty area. Again, quickly across was James Wilson, and forcing Hudson-Odoi to run the ball behind. That kind of epitomises the opening 22 minutes, Sam Park, in the determination of James Wilson to gobble up the ground and get there and force the mistake from Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah, terrific stuff initially. Sharp 1-2, Kovacic, Hudson-Odoi just split through that Plymouth rear guard, but then Hudson-Odoi, the lack of trust, confidence, call it what you like, on his left side, just overdid it, trying to bring it back infield, trying to architect the space to maybe get a strike away himself. And as you said, Wilson coming out from the middle to make a really telling contribution and usher him out of play.
He made his Welsh debut, James Wilson, against Belgium back in October. Malong Sarr, meanwhile, has just stepped on the ball in the left-back position, gifted possession to Plymouth Argyle. Here is Panucci Camera, plays it forward, looking for Danny Mayer. Mayer will just look up and assess his options and then jink his way beyond. Jorginho can't dive in, having been booked. Well won back by Ziyech in the end, and here come Chelsea on the counter. Ziyech down the right-hand side, gobbling up the yardage. Into the penalty area, Hakim Ziyech tries to cut it back again, looking for Lukaku, and nodded behind this time by Dan Scarf. What I think is Chelsea's first corner of the afternoon here on TalkSport 2.
Yeah, a little nick off Gillespie, I think it was as well, that just made it an easier header for Dan Scarr. But they defended well whenever those two wing-backs have been breached. The outside centre-halves have really stepped up in this opening period.
Corner for Chelsea will be played into a very congested penalty area. From the right-hand side towards Rudiger. Got the glancing header at the near post, but it goes all the way across the 6-yard box and behind tamely for a goal kick for Plymouth Argyle.
Yeah, should do better, and he knows it. I think that's a good opportunity. Stolen the march on his Plymouth marker. Just the near side, 6-yard box, gets free. There's a late attempt to put a little bit of pressure on him, but can only glance it away from the target.
Big story here. Chelsea 0, Plymouth Argyle 1. And there's a big story evolving over on TalkSport as well. Kidderminster Harriers 1, West Ham United 0. So both Premier League sides in trouble early on 4th round Saturday here on TalkSport and TalkSport 2. Who says the FA Cup's lost its magic? Lukaku trying to flick it onto Mount for Chelsea, trailing by 1-0, scored by Macaulay Gillespie. A header from a free kick inside the first 8 minutes. Kovacic has hit the bar. It's as close as Chelsea have come to an equaliser. 20 minutes to go until half-time. They're trying to played their way out from the back. In the end, Scar goes direct, looking for the run of Garrick once more. Christensen underneath the header, and he's picked up now by the captain, Azpilicueta, on the Chelsea right. Mason Mount just inside the Plymouth half takes over. Here's Christensen again. And Rudiger switches out to the left-hand side, and Malong Sarr isn't really natural full-back. Of course, Chelsea's recent travails, we've seen them fall well behind Manchester City in the Premier League table, have coincided with the injury absence of Messrs Chilwell and James. James back in light training. That will be good news for Thomas Tuchel, having failed to recruit a replacement in the transfer window. They did recall the Brazilian Kennedy from a loan spell away. He's on the bench this afternoon. They might need him over the course of proceedings. 26 minutes gone. Chelsea 0, Plymouth Argyle 1. Here comes Edwards, the wing-back for Plymouth, down the right-hand side, up against Malong Sarr. Comes back in field for Camera. Very confident in possession, Sam Park, in the team from League One.
They are, and they've got that option to go a little bit longer. We've seen how well Garrick has started this game, but definitely capable of playing some nice stuff. It's just about getting that balance today.
Here's Ziyech. Down by the right corner flag for Chelsea, who's turned defence into attack at rapid speed. Azpilicueta with a cross, blocked behind for a second corner in relatively quick succession for the home team.
Yeah, it's Gillespie and Grant who are having the tougher time in terms of the Plymouth back line right now. Chelsea tend to overload that right-hand side. Mason Mount's position, very interesting today. Hugs the right-hand side a lot. Him and Ziyech almost playing on each other's toes, so invariably they're getting 3v2s over on that side when Azpilicueta joins in attacks as well.
Corner again swung into the 6-yard box and flicked behind by Jordan Houghton, leaping highest, the Plymouth midfielder inside his own penalty area. Turned the ball behind for another corner from the near left-hand side this time. Mason Mount racing across to take it, being booed by the Plymouth Argyle supporters. Mount places the ball down and prepares to deliver into the area again and hit it away at the near post. And then flicked clear by Luke Jethcott doing his defensive duty, and out for a Chelsea throw over on the far side of the field.
Yeah, did really well, actually. It's a difficult ball to deal with. All eyes on you. Edwards with the first half clearance, and then Jethcott sensibly heads it into touch.
The views of Sam Parkin, the former Chelsea striker, here on Talk Sport 2. 28 minutes gone. Chelsea 0, Plymouth Argyle 1. Chelsea probing for an equaliser. Azpilicueta down the right-hand side. Danny Mayer trying to block the route to the penalty area. Azpilicueta still has possession though over on that far touchline. Now Ziyech. Looked lively for Chelsea so far. Ziyech trying to bamboozle Conor Grant and crosses too deep into the area over the head of both Lukaku and Hudson-Odoi. Not the most convincing clearance away by Edwards. And out for a Chelsea throw on halfway here at Stamford Bridge. It's collected by Malong Sarr. Now Dane Christensen inside the centre circle. Sprays it out to the right, Azpilicueta. Forward to Ziyech, and now Mason Mount on the edge of the area. Into the feet of Ziyech again, who can shoot from there. Took a deflection and looped up kindly into the gloves of Cooper. Safe handling this time from the Argyle goalkeeper.
Yeah, the little deflection makes it an easier save, clearly, but lovely approach play. Mason Mount once again chalk on his boots, right-hand side. It's that rotation that's causing Plymouth a bit of a problem. Ziyech coming in field to that position that he loves, where he scored most recently against Tottenham. Stinging effort, but a couple of Plymouth players absolutely flinging themselves at the strike, blocking it at source, and thank goodness they did for the Plymouth goalkeeper's perspective.
Malong Sarr there, almost taking on more than he can handle with Camera. In the end, he outmuscled the Argyle midfielder, and here's Kovacic now inside the centre circle for Chelsea. A swarm of blue shirts inside Plymouth territory. Azpilicueta plays it down the line. Ziyech again will cut in field on that left foot, crosses towards the far post and headed against the bar by Hudson-Odoi. Chelsea denied by the woodwork again. Follow-up shot from Azpilicueta blocked, and from Mount. Plymouth really getting their bodies in the way here, but Hudson-Odoi from 2 yards out surely should have equalised.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. Ziyech's left foot once more. Need to just try and show him on the outside. He's such a tricky customer, but if they can do it, forcing towards the corner flag.
Well, here's a chance for Lukaku inside the penalty area, and he didn't seem to want to get the shot away. His touch was poor. And that allows Plymouth Argyle to clear up to the halfway line. All of a sudden, the League One team having to soak up an awful lot of Chelsea pressure now. Half an hour gone. Chelsea 0, Plymouth Argyle 1 on TalkSport 2. Malong Sarr plays it down the left-hand side to Hudson-Odoi. He's going to run at Edwards, Hudson-Odoi, into the penalty area. Can he pick out a teammate in blue? Good block by Edwards. And then the ball ricochets back against Hudson-Odoi and out for a goal kick.
Yeah, well, I was critical of Hudson-Odoi in the early minutes of this game because he was too far away from the far post. He didn't attack those deliveries from Ziyech. The last two, first one he was in too early, and then that one arrived absolutely perfectly on cue to get that header on the target. Well, hit the crossbar, but much better from Hudson-Odoi the last few moments. That's what they need to do when they've got Ziyech. He's got that beautiful, languid style on the far side, but when the delivery comes, it's going to be on point. They need someone around the far post to attack it, and Hudson-Odoi did more or less everything bang on there.
Well, they've only lost 4 of their last 29 FA Cup ties, Chelsea, 3 of those in the final, including last season to Leicester at Wembley. But they're behind here. A big FA Cup story developing on TalkSport 2. Ziyech skips past a couple of challenges on the edge of the penalty area, then plays it out to Mason Mount. Here's Azpilicueta offering support. Mason Mount again. Into Kovacic. Plymouth with everybody, bar Garrick, back behind the ball. In comes the cross again, it's too deep. Ziyech slaps his own thighs in frustration. Hudson-Odoi did well to keep the move alive. Malong Sarr with a low ball into the area, looking for Lukaku. Steered away again by Scar. And here come Plymouth Argyle on the counter-attack. They go long looking for Garrick. Christensen watches it all the way and heads it back to Kepa Arrizabalaga. A gust of wind just blows my notes across the desk in front of me here in the press area. It is bright and sunny, and there is a chill in the air as well. Perfect conditions for football though. Plymouth Argyle looking for a free kick and belatedly a given one. Conor Grant upended by Ziyech, and the visitors will take the dead ball 10 yards outside their own penalty area with only 13 minutes Sam Park in the first half to play.
No, and if they were expecting a storm to come in their direction, it hasn't really been forthcoming to this point. There's been moments for Chelsea where they've been able to cut through Plymouth and make chances, but it's not been what I would have expected after Plymouth taking the early lead. And I just get the sense from the atmosphere that the crowd are waiting to have a bit of a pop at Lukaku. That last ball that went astray, whether it's because of the recent goings on, I think it's combined with that and the performance is quickly, because they're nowhere near what they would have expected from him at this point. He needs to liven up a little bit, even if it's just closing people, showing for the ball. He's been on the periphery of games in the Premier League recently. Against League One opposition, he needs to be the main man.
He's still only scored 8 goals, Lukaku, since that big money return to Stamford Bridge. Chelsea's number 9. That has been a cursed squad number down the years.
Not half.
Chris Sutton, Shevchenko, both wore 9, didn't they?
Yeah, there's been a number, probably Morata more recently.
Lukaku might want to add his name to that list, but it isn't going the way that he would have hoped. Here he is on the edge of the area though, trying to turn away from the Plymouth Argyle back line. Good ball into the feet of Azpilicueta, and he's going to shoot from the edge of the area. There's a good save down low to his left by Cooper, because that came through a very crowded penalty area. He wouldn't have seen it until late, Cooper. It's an excellent save from the Plymouth Argyle goalkeeper.
Yeah, right on cue. Good stuff from Lukaku. Pinning, bringing Azpilicueta into play. You're expecting that shot to go across Michael Cooper, so I would suggest his starting position is bang on. Doesn't commit himself a step to the right, just waits for the strike to come towards him and pushes it to safety. Double-handed, good stop.
And that's another of the ingredients needed for a League One side to pull off an FA Cup upset at the home of the European champions. You need your goalkeeper. In comes the cross to Lukaku, who seemed to jump too early, and in the end the ball just bounces tamely off his chest, and Plymouth Argyle clear to the halfway line. But it's going to come straight back at them again here with Ziyech down the right. Mount with a low ball into the area, cleared this time by the hard-working Houghton, and out for a throw over on the far touchline.
Yeah, it was strange, wasn't it? Because the delivery from Hudson-Odoi was perfect, it would seem. Maybe just in a little bit early, Lukaku, and couldn't readjust his position.
I think at the moment Plymouth will be relieved to get back to the sanctuary, the dressing room, with the 1-0 lead intact. Their manager Stephen Schumacher is just calling Jordan Garrick over to the touchline to issue some instructions. We've got Less than 10 minutes of the half remaining. Chelsea 0, Plymouth Argyle 1. The early goal from the head of Macaulay Gillespie, who played for a couple of seasons under Robbie Fowler at Brisbane Roar in Australia, having been let go by Newcastle as a youngster. What a moment for him, what a moment for those travelling Argyle fans away to our left, filling the shed end of the ground. And Stamford Bridge is one of half a dozen stadiums that are trialling safe standing for the rest of the season. With those RAL seats, the Plymouth Argyle supporters making full use of those. And here's Garrick, who has come over to the right-hand side, and he's going to try and take on Malong Sarr now. In the end, he passed it straight to Kovacic, and again a good physical battle between Kovacic and Camera. Camera won the ball. Houghton out to the left-hand side, and Mayer. Chance maybe to get across into the penalty area. Mayer up against Azpilicueta, so plays it short to Houghton, but to knock it around the corner, and Christensen clears it away for Chelsea, and then immediately set Ziyech on the counter. Ziyech midway inside the Plymouth half, trying to roll it through for Hudson-Odoi. Good interception again by Scarr. Dan Scarr, who wore a Terry Butcher-style headband in one of the earlier rounds against Rochdale, is having an excellent afternoon at the heart of the Plymouth defence. Sam Parkin, him and James Wilson and Macaulay Gillespie seem to be really enjoying the battle up against Lukaku.
Yeah, that was one of the first times where 6 Plymouth players got caught in advance of the ball. It was Jordan Houghton, the player that was a little bit sloppy in possession. Chelsea in business, but thankfully Edwards on the cover, the right wing back, made it into a back four, and they were able to just prey on that slight miscontrol from Hakim Ziyech.
Here is Ziyech, right-hand side. Probably been Chelsea's most creative player over the course of the opening 37 minutes, Hakim Ziyech. Jorginho into Mount, lays it off for Lukaku, thought about the shot, in the end plays it to Kovacic, and he drills one, and it's hit the inside of the post for the third time. Chelsea denied by the frame of the goal. Kovacic with a quick silver shot from just inside the D. Goalkeeper Cooper beaten. It rebounds off the inside of the upright and to safety.
Oh, terrific effort. Mason Mount making a big difference against a deep line Plymouth back line. They can't contain him right now.
Azpilicueta with a low ball into the area, turned behind by the goal scorer Gillespie. And Chelsea have their 4th corner. But when you hit the woodwork, Sam Parkin, 3 times in 38 minutes, you trail by a goal to nil. Do you start to fear it isn't going to be your afternoon in the FA Cup?
A bit early for that, but I get what you're saying. That was a great effort. Kovacic, Mason Mount's the one linking it. They can't get hold of him because his movement is so sharp and so varied. Just varies his movement, his little bits of...
And here is Mount with a cross into the area. Steered in towards Azpilicueta, well defended again by Edwards this time.
He's the one that always wants the ball. He's always available. He's always proactive, sharp. You know, the rest of the forward players could take a leaf out of his book. This would make it a much more difficult proposition for Plymouth, who the defending hasn't been desperate, I wouldn't say, but Chelsea's starting now to make a good number of chances. That was just a magnificent snapshot, if you like, from Kovacic. Very unlucky to see it hit the base of the post.
Well, they have their 5th corner, Chelsea, and it will be taken by Ziyech over on the right-hand side, so a left-footed delivery. And Rudiger goes down under a challenge from Houghton. No real penalty appeals, in the corner from Ziyech straight into the arms of Cooper, the goalkeeper. 1-0 Plymouth Argyle lead. Sam Parkin, I wonder, even at this early stage, will Chelsea possibly be looking towards their bench?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think you still give this team an opportunity to come out, if they don't score in the first half, 15 minutes in the second half, to try and get that equaliser, and just see then what the opponent's mettle is like, because, you know, I think you still feel that one goal could turn this game right now.
Here's Lukaku down the right-hand side to Mason Mount. Only Hudson-Odoi in the centre, and I wasn't convinced the goalkeeper was going to keep hold of the cross. He does so, Cooper, and collapses on top of the ball.
That's a wicked delivery, Mason Mount. It's almost like a shot, really, just outside the 18-yard box, and he absolutely thunders it towards the near post. Recognises they've got good numbers back there. Hudson-Odoi making the run across Edwards on that occasion, would have just needed to deflect it towards the target, would have surely have scored, but Cooper once more just about hangs on.
You have to go back to 2015, for the last time Chelsea were dumped out of the FA Cup in round 4. That was a memorable victory at Stamford Bridge for Bradford City. A long way to go, but Plymouth at the moment on course to repeat history. 5 minutes of the first half to play. They lead by a goal to nil. They have done since the 8th minute. Gillespie with a header from Houghton's pinpoint free kick. Chelsea 3 times denied by the woodwork. It's been an excellent advert for the FA Cup this game. So too over on TalkSport, where Kidderminster Harriers lead West Ham 1-0. Here's a chance for Azpilicueta! Chelsea back on level terms, and it's the captain with a cheeky back heel finish from 6 yards out. It's his first goal in more than a year. It could be a big one for Chelsea. Mount with a low ball into the area. Azpilicueta back heels beyond Cooper to make it Chelsea 1, Plymouth Argyle 1.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a bit of question marks about offside. There's a surprise in that it's Azpilicueta who's got the goal. No, I can't see anything wrong with this at all. No surprise whatsoever that it's Mason Mount, the architect for Chelsea. He's been their best player in this first half. He's kept going when other heads have dropped. That ball deliciously passed, almost strong side foot across the 6-yard box, and Azpilicueta reads it, adapts to the situation, and what a cute finish.
A goal of the cheeky variety from Cesar Azpilicueta, and a roar of relief as much as joy in the home sections of Stamford Bridge. Chelsea back on level terms with 4 minutes of the first half to play here on TalkSport 2. And now Plymouth Argyle really will be relieved to hear the half-time whistle. Stephen Schumacher looks a bit frustrated, Sam Parkin.
Yeah, there's been opportunities for them to use the ball a little bit better. I think that they started to give it away, midpoint of this first half. It's a big day for them, and that counter press that Chelsea have as well. There's been a few examples where Plymouth players have taken a touch, got their heads up, and then the ball's been nicked. Invariably, it's been Mason Mount, and that's what you don't get against the top teams, especially against a team which, prey on the opposition, being in possession, nicking it high up the pitch, and then getting a shot away. And there's a few times where I think the Plymouth players have gone, wow, this is a fast tempo that you're not going to get any added time that you maybe get in league football.
You are listening to live coverage of the FA Cup on TalkSport 2, thanks to Neutrogena T-Gel Therapeutic Shampoo. Chelsea 1, Plymouth Argyle 1, into the last couple of minutes of the first half. Plymouth in front, courtesy of Gillespie's header in the 8th minute, cancelled out by a cheeky finish from Azpilicueta. Here's Lukaku into the penalty area, stopped by a sliding challenge there from Scar. Chelsea still have the ball in a dangerous position. Azpilicueta with a low cross, again turned away, but only back to the Chelsea captain and goal scorer, and this time his cross is too deep, and it should be dealt with by Camara. Malong Sarr sliding in, and he's conceded a free kick. I think maybe the referee could let Plymouth play on there. Free kick down by the right back position for Argyle. He's covered lots of ground, Panucci. Camara having only just returned, Sam Parkin, from African Cup of Nations duty.
No, he's been great. He really has. He's given them that dimension that a player can drive the team up the pitch with the ball rather than having to circulate it and move it through the thirds. He's got that athleticism to do it himself, essentially. So, been very impressive. That left-hand side for Plymouth, that's what's being worked time and time again. Chelsea are getting joy over there, and I think it's because it's a bit lopsided, the shape. Mason Mount essentially doubles up with Hakim Ziyech on that side when they've got the ball, so it's a tough ask for Conor Grant and Gillespie right now.
Azpilicueta gives the ball back to his goalkeeper Aretha Balaga, deputising for Mendy. He's been a pretty decent deputy as well, having had a difficult Premier League career so far, following his big money move from Atletico Madrid, £71.6 million. He has kept clean sheets in 10 of his last 17 starts before today. Here There is Malong Sarr with the socks rolled down to the ankles, the Chelsea left back. Forward to Hudson-Odoi, who's just trying to outmuscle Edwards and winning a free kick from the Plymouth Argyle wing back. As we move into the final 15 seconds of the first half, we're about to find out how much added time there will be here on Game Day on TalkSport 2. 1-1 the score. Kidderminster Harry has a goal up against West Ham. An FA Cup story developing over on TalkSport. 2 minutes. Here's the verdict from the fourth official on the electronic board. What will be the make-up, Sam Parkin, of the team talks of the two managers?
Well, I think, I spoke to a few people within the Plymouth camp, and they worked coming into this game, looking at blocks, this game, 4 blocks, so they'll be disappointed they've conceded in this little period before half-time, but it's 1-1. It's all to play for. They can start in the same vein they started that first half after the break. There's no reason why there can't be a shock here this afternoon. They'll have grown in confidence from what they've produced in this first half. Of course, you have to rely on a little bit of lady luck, but then the substitutes come into play. That's another different ingredient which the manager has up his sleeve. Ryan Hardy and Ennis can essentially bring you what these two centre-forwards have provided in the first half. There's not a great deal between the 4, so I think he's got that, which may be a little bit of a surprise element for Chelsea. For them, they need to keep, obviously, believing that one of these chances is going to go in. They've created so many. Probably the tempo, probably the movement, I would say. Mason Mount's the only one. Again here.
Mount with a cross towards Lukaku. Again, Scar sliding in, timed his clearance of perfection. Here's Jorginho on the edge of the box, and he flashes a right foot shot right across the face of goal. I think it took a deflection, so Chelsea will have a corner in the final seconds of the first half. Yeah, it maybe needed that intervention to take it away from goal from Jorginho.
It probably did. It was a good effort once more. I don't know if it's the attitude of the Chelsea players, Alex, but at times they've been a bit lackadaisical on the ball. Sarr's had it down on this near side a few times, looking up, waiting for someone to move for a bit of sharpness, and it's not really come. So I think, I don't know if it's just taking this victory for granted, because Mason Mount seems to be the only one who's really at it.
He's taking the corner, Mount. Into the area it goes. Rudiger tries to help it goalwards. It's still bubbling around in the 6-yard box, and Afpelagreita actually cleared it away, having tried the shot. Slices it away to the left-hand side. That's the last action of what's been a really entertaining first half here on TalkSport 2. Plymouth Argyle in front, the team from League One, with only 8 minutes played. Macaulay Gillespie with a header from a pinpoint Jordan Houghton free kick. Chelsea 3 times denied by the woodwork before their captain Cesar Afpelagreita equalised with a cheeky backheel finish 4 minutes from the interval. Work to do for the European champions if they are to take their place in round 5, but plenty to admire for those travelling Plymouth Argyle supporters in this first half. At the break at Stamford Bridge, it is Chelsea 1, Plymouth Argyle 1.
Thank you very much. Your commentary team of Alex Cook there and the former Chelsea and Swindon striker Sam Parkin. Sam, that goal for Chelsea there at the end of the first half has surely changed the outlook for the second half. If Plymouth had gone in 1-0 up, they would have probably still believed, whereas now they're thinking of having to get ahead all over again.
Yeah, there'll be a little bit of deflation in there right now, but they've scored a goal at Stamford Bridge, which is an incredible for the individual, Gillespie, and for the collective. They probably wouldn't have expected maybe to even do that, not being disrespectful, so they've given a great account of themselves at half-time. At 1-0, Plymouth manager and staff are probably plotting how do they maybe shore this game up. Well, I don't think they can do that now for the second half. I think they'll probably continue in the same vein and hope that one of their strikers, maybe one of those substitutes I just alluded to, can get their noses back in front, because 45 minutes is a long time to park the bus, and it's probably not sensible against a team with the attacking threat of Chelsea. So I think more of the same for Plymouth. They will believe now that they can score again, but yeah, of course that goal had been coming, but still tough one to take as they got so close to half-time. I think it does change the team talk somewhat.
That's obviously a very strong Chelsea lineup they're playing against there. I guess if maybe they can keep it at 1-1 until the hour mark, maybe, and Chelsea make some changes, then they can sort of hope that those players don't quite get up to speed in time. But I mean, what's impressed you so far about Plymouth, Sam?
Well, some of the individual performances, I think Camera, we just spoke of just before we broke off for half-time. He's been excellent, not only in getting back and helping out defensively, but driving them up the pitch. And I think it's that balance really with some of the forward players. Jephcott, very intelligent hold-up player. He's shown that. Garrick's been electric playing on the last line. So I think the managers thought long and hard about how they can hurt Chelsea, not necessarily how they can contain, because that back five almost picks itself. But I think there's quite a variety of ways they can go offensively, and the balance seems to be very clever. It's not maybe played out as well as they would have liked with the ball in possession. I think Danny Mayer's in the side to keep hold of it, take the sting out of the game, keep possession. He's been guilty of giving it away a few times, and Jordan Houghton maybe, and I think that's just more about what Chelsea are like without the ball, you know, relentless at their closing, trying to win it back quickly. It's not what these Plymouth lads would have been used to in League One. So it's not been perfect. I'm sure Stephen Schumacher would have liked it to have been a bit more smoother in possession, but there's been lots to like about the balance of the side, and they try and play out, which is, you know, light years probably away from what teams were doing 20 years ago in League One. It's a very sophisticated lower league side that we're watching here today at Stamford Bridge. And
finally, obviously, the game has to be settled today. As a former player, if you're in there at half-time now at 1-1 against Chelsea, is the thought of having any sort of extra time penalty, that must be something you want to avoid at all costs, especially given, you know, your opponents are a Premier League side, the European champions, and they're also well rested as well. Plymouth have played 2 games since Chelsea last took to the field. Yeah,
I think when it goes to extra time, these type of games, when you put into account, you just touched on it, John, the quality that they can bring on from the bench, Chelsea. When you're talking about Werner and Havertz, people like that can come on and affect it. The longer the game goes on, you become, you know, it becomes an even bigger shout for Plymouth to make it through today. So they want to try and do it in 90 minutes, no question about that. And then, you know, when you get to the tail end of 90 minutes, if it is 1-1, you start thinking about extra time and the potential of penalties, but that comes very much in the latter stages of the game. So, no, they'll start with a fresh mindset, I would say, start of the second half, and belief will be the big thing, considering they've scored now and shown that they can cause Chelsea 1 or 2 problems. They've got to take that into the second period and try and make it as good a game as they have for the first 45.
Have indeed. Romelu Lukaku's in good form in the FA Cup. He's scored in the last 7 home ties he's played in. That's for Everton, United and Chelsea. You know, how do you rate his performance so far? Is he going to keep that record going today with a goal?
Well, he's been better last 5 minutes or so, but I just said to Alex during the commentary, they're waiting to turn on him, Lukaku, because of obviously the high profile falling out, if we can call it that, or obviously the interview he gave. The performances on the back of that haven't been great. From a team essence, it's not been too bad, but individually, he's short of goals, he's short of creation. He looks a little bit leggy, I would say, for use of a better word. So I don't know exactly what's going on there, but he doesn't seem to have the sharpness in his game right now. So listen, he's not going to gather stacks of confidence, with all respect, from scoring against lower league opposition, but I just think the supporters need it. The supporters need him to show a little bit more for them to get onside for the big Premier League and big Champions League games that are around the corner.
Yeah, still some trust to regain for Romelu Lukaku there. The thoughts of the former Chelsea and Swindon striker Sam Parkin alongside our commentator Alex Crook. They'll be back very, very soon. Of course, we do have 4 live FA Cup 4th round ties today. One of the other ones has been going on during this game over on TalkSport. And as much as Plymouth went ahead unexpectedly in this game, it seems Kidderminster have had a pretty good first half over on TalkSport.
A free kick over on that far side to be taken by the free kick specialist, Sterling. Not sure he's going to go from that sort of range and try and score, but he's got his left hand in the air. He leaves it, then swings it in, right-footed, in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Comes back and it's smashed in by Penny. And Kidderminster Harriers lead against West Ham United. Alex Penny with the goal, a massive goal. And all of Kiddy get giddy, because they lead in the FA Cup against West Ham United, 115 places above them in the pyramid. They've taken the lead. It's Kidderminster Harriers 1, West Ham United 0.
I expected the delivery to be good, not that good. I don't know what he was doing there. He's come for the ball, Arioli. He's nowhere near that, because the delivery had quality written all over it. Then they get lucky. The ball bounces favourably for them, and you can't do anything about the finish. He strikes it really well.
A big first half over at Agborough there. Kidderminster 1, West Ham 0 at half-time. You can download the free TalkSport mobile app. You can listen here to the second half of Chelsea versus Plymouth. If you fancy seeing what the score is over on TalkSport, you can just swipe left and right between the games. And of course, when you've got the app, it means you can listen to any of the other commentaries we've got today straight after the game here on TalkSport 2. We've got Everton versus Brentford, Frank Lampard's first game in charge at Goodison. Then the Championship fixture between Swansea and Blackburn, whilst there's Premier League exclusive commentary of Burnley versus Watford over on TalkSport. You then got Tottenham versus Brighton in the fourth round of the FA Cup here on TalkSport 2 later this evening. And if you fancy more, over on TalkSport, live boxing from Cardiff, Chris Eubank Jr. taking on Liam Williams as well. A huge FA Cup game day across the TalkSport network. We'll be back with the second half next.
Your go-to destination.
It is game on!
This is FA Cup Game Day on TalkSport 2.
FA Cup live on TalkSport 2 with Neutrogena T-Gel. Get your head in the game and show dandruff a red card with the on-target action of Neutrogena T-Gel Therapeutic Shampoo. Contains coal tar. Always read the label.
Grab a great deal on kitchens and bathrooms at Screwfix this winter. Save £25 on the Myra Sprint 8.5 kilowatt electric shower, now just $99.99. And get a free radiator valve worth $13.99 when you buy selected Bliss Towel radiators. Order through our app or at screwfix.com for click and collect, or shop in store. Screwfix, here when you need us. While stocks last. Price is valid until at least 4 p.m. 6th of March. Visit screwfix.com for the radiator and TRV promotion details, T's and C's, delivery charges and restrictions.
Philip Schofield here. To all you van drivers out there, thinking, why do the car drivers get all the love? I've got news for you. From the people who brought you We Buy Any Car, drumroll, We Buy Any Van. Yes, we buy vans, all types of vans, vans like yours. So stop feeling neglected, because we love vans too. To find out how much your van's worth in 30 seconds, enter your reg number now at WeBuyAnyVan.com.
For more information, see WeBuyAnyVan.com/info.
Sun Super Days are back. Answer the call of the wild at Chessington World of Adventures Resort with 2 free tickets worth over £100 when you collect codes inside the Sun. Enjoy over 40 fantastic rides and amazing attractions for all ages, including the Jawsome Crop Drop. Plus, experience over 1,000 incredible animals and underwater creatures at Chessington Zoo and Sea Life Centre. It's an unforgettable adventure, so start collecting for your free tickets. Pick up the Sun today. T's and C's apply.
It could be a first-timer or a long-timer or a once-in-a-whiler. It could be a little or a lot. It could be the ticket under your fridge magnet. It could be someone with your first name and last and middle, or it could be you. Tonight's Lotto jackpot is £11 million and it must be won. Or thousands of you will win a share of the jackpot. Play on app, online and in-store. Lotto from the National Lottery. Your numbers make amazing happen. Estimated jackpot. Account terms, rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
FA Cup live on TalkSport 2 with Neutrogena T-Gel Therapeutic Shampoo. Official partner of TalkSport's FA Cup coverage. Contains coal tar. Always read the label.
The totally immersive football experience.
Oh, what a goal!
FA Cup Game Day on TalkSport 2.
Good afternoon, John Jackson here on TalkSport 2. Half-time score, Chelsea 1, Plymouth 1 in our FA Cup fourth round commentary over on TalkSport. A shock could possibly be on the way at Agborough. It's Kidderminster 1, West Ham 0 at half-time. Make sure you download the free TalkSport mobile app. You can swipe between TalkSport and TalkSport 2. Lots of live sport coming up this afternoon. And don't forget, TalkSport 2 is also the place to be for everything NFL. It's at the business end of the season. We're bringing you excellent content for the next couple of weeks. It's the build-up to the Super Bowl, which will be live on TalkSport next week on Sunday the 13th of February. Our team at the moment, they've gone to Vegas early. That seems like a nice little perk of the job. It's because the Pro Bowl is taking place there. If you're not aware of the Pro Bowl, it's basically, imagine the FA Cup, and there's 2 teams that get to the final of the FA Cup, but there's loads of great players that didn't quite make it. They basically just pick the best players from the season. They all go and play this spectacle match called the Pro Bowl. It's very family friendly. It's very light-hearted. If you imagine, NFL's a fairly high impact sport, they take it a little bit lighter, let's say, because they don't really want to get injured, especially if you're a player that's playing, looking for a new club next season. Anyway, our team's out there at the moment. They're chatting to some of the stars of the game. And TalkSport 2's Will Gavin, he caught up with the Hall of Famer Ron Woodson, and he discussed the retirement of former Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, Ben had a tremendous career. I'm pretty sure in 5 years he'll be in Canton. He'll have a gold jacket. It's one of those things that he did a tremendous job for the Steelers when what was asked of him. Got him to a Super Bowl, won one. I think in his time frame of being there, they didn't have too many losing seasons.
I was trying to line it up. Would you have been at the Ravens when Brady came into the league? That sounds about right. Did you ever face him?
I did play against Brady. I did play against him. He was a baby, though, at that time. He wasn't Tom Brady. He was just Brady, right? So, tremendous player. He's also in, 5 years down the road is going to be in the Hall of Fame. If Gronk retires in 5 years, Gronk is going to be in the Hall of Fame. So it'd be a pretty nice class.
Well, Tom Brady won't be at the Super Bowl, but TalkSport 2 will be there Sunday the 13th, late into the evening, early into the morning of the Monday morning, but it's going to be a great game. Cincinnati Bengals shocking everyone, making the Super Bowl for the first time in many, many years, taking on the Los Angeles Rams in their home stadium in Las Vegas. But before that, Will Gavin, former Buffalo Bills coach Phoebe Schechter, will bring you a show live from the Pro Bowl in Las Vegas tomorrow. That's from 6 p.m. You'll hear more exclusive interviews with NFL greats, like the Hall of Famer Ron Woodson just there. We'll also preview the Super Bowl all next week, so you're not going to miss any of the action, as TalkSport 2 is your home of the 2022 Super Bowl. We're here with Chelsea versus Plymouth. The second half is coming up in just a second. The score at half-time is 1-1. Let's hear how the first half sounded.
It's not a bad delivery, and it's been headed in. Plymouth Argyle take the lead at Stamford Bridge. I think it's Macaulay Gillespie who got the final touch. It was a wicked delivery. And the former Newcastle United youngster sends 6,000 Argyle fans into raptures. What a start in West London. The European champions behind against the team from League One. It is Chelsea 0, Plymouth Argyle 1. Here's Hudson-Odoi though, into the penalty area, cuts it back for Lukaku. Kovacic with a shot off the underside of the bar and away. Maybe Mike Cooper got the faintest of touches. Chelsea so close to being level. Ziyech again will cut in field on that left foot, crosses towards the far post and headed against the bar by Hudson-Odoi. Chelsea denied by the woodwork again. Follow-up shot from Aspilicueta blocked, and from Mount. There's a chance for Aspilicueta. Chelsea back on level terms, and it's the captain with a cheeky back heel finish from 6 yards out. It's his first goal in more than a year. It could be a big one for Chelsea. Mount with a low ball into the area. Aspilicueta back heels beyond Cooper to make it Chelsea 1, Plymouth Argyle 1.
Well, an exciting end to the first half live here on TalkSport 2. We're going to hand straight back for the second half now, joining the former Chelsea and Swindon striker Sam Parkin. It's your commentator, Alex Crook.
Thank you, John. Chelsea have only failed to reach round 5 of the FA Cup twice in Roman Abramovich's 19 years in power here at Stamford Bridge. Will they keep that run going in the second half, or can Plymouth, having taken the early lead, pull off a huge upset? We are back, off and underway here in West London, and Chelsea have made an alteration for the start of the second half. The team in blue shirts, blue shorts and white socks, attacking the Matthew Harding stand away to our right. Marcus Alonso is on for Christensen, so Malong Sarr will go to his more preferred central defensive role with Alonso at left back. And here's Hudson-Odoi straight away looking to get Chelsea on the front foot and winning a corner. The home side with Kepa in goal, Aspilicueta the goal scorer, Rudiger and Sarr alongside Alonso in defence, Mount, Jorginho and Kovacic in midfield, Ziyech and Hudson-Odoi wide of Lukaku up front. Corner for Chelsea inside the opening minute of the second half. Ziyech with the delivery, and it bounces, I think, off James Wilson at the near post and behind Sam Parkin for another corner. Chelsea applying the pressure early in this second half.
Yeah, it was a good run down the left-hand side from Hudson-Odoi, but brilliantly matched actually by Dan Sky. Really shifted over there. Concession of the corner though, and then that near post delivery once more from Mason Mount. Tough to clear their lines for Plymouth.
There's a jostling going on inside that penalty area, away to our right. The corner is about to be played in again by Mount towards the near post. Alonso couldn't get on the end of it, and Plymouth here will look to counter in their predominantly white strip with the green midriff and green socks, attacking the travelling supporters away to our left. In the shed end, it's Cooper the goalkeeper, Wilson, Scar and Gillespie the goal scorer in defence, Edwards and Grant the wing backs, Houghton deepest in midfield, with Camera and Mayer in behind Jethcott and Garrick up front. Of course, in the FA Cup, teams can make up to 5 substitutions. Chelsea have made 1 already. Alonso on for Christensen. Sam Parkin at half-time. Your views on that change?
Yeah, he looked short, didn't he? A little bit of maybe fitness, rhythm. Andreas Christensen didn't look his usual self. Had a tough time up against Jordan Garrick in particular. So also now you have a little bit more attacking impetus with Alonso at left back. Malang Sarr, rarely got over the halfway line really, and didn't get involved in any attacking play. So with Alonso you'll get that, and with Azpilicueta as right full-back, we saw that in the first half. Obviously got the goal and was involved heavily in Chelsea's attack. So it's just a little tweak to make them a little bit more dangerous going forward, I would suggest.
Don't forget, more live FA Cup commentary coming up here on TalkSport 2. Everton against Brentford, Frank Lampard's first game as Everton manager. That's a 3 o'clock kickoff. We'll get the team news in around about 25 minutes' time. And we have a Premier League commentary on TalkSport, 6 o'clock, as Watford travel to Burnley. Here's Kovacic into the area. His touch just carries the ball into the gloves of the advancing Cooper. They have started Sam Park in the second half with much more purpose, Chelsea, than we saw in the first 10 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, they have. I mean, Sarr just trampled through about 3 challenges there. I thought the final coming together was going to end up in a free kick, but quick 1-2 from Kovacic and Ziyech. And as you said, Kovacic's touch for once just evaded him, just got away from him and allowed Cooper the opportunity to come out and smother.
The wind's still swirling inside Stamford Bridge. The blue skies have been replaced by grey ones overhead. As Antonio Rudiger brings it forward for Chelsea. The first 4 minutes of this second half played out almost exclusively in the Plymouth Argyle half, away to our right. Alex Crook and Sam Parkin calling the action from Stamford Bridge on FA Cup 4th round Saturday. Alonso with a cross away from Lukaku and swept behind by Conor Grant, the former Everton youngster. Chelsea with their 9th corner. Maybe Conor Grant could have cleared that upfield as opposed to turning it behind for this set piece. Hakim Ziyech from the near side towards the near post, helped on by Sarr, but dealt with by Plymouth Argyle. And here comes Camera towards the halfway line, trying to poke it forward to Garrick, who's away from Ziyech. Garrick, and making his way towards the penalty area. And it was a really important challenge by Hudson-Odoi. First real menacing moment from the League One team in this second half.
Yeah, great defending, because that's a complete mismatch. As soon as Garrick got away from Ziyech, he's not going to catch him now. I thought he may take the law into his own hands, take the yellow card, but unfortunately for Chelsea, Hudson-Odoi didn't commit himself, just timed the challenge to perfection.
Could have played professional rugby league. Jordan Garrick was on the books of Bradford Bulls as a youngster. Says that's helped with his speed and his physicality. The Swansea loanee. He's had a good FA Cup campaign so far, scoring twice against Sheffield Wednesday in the first round and a header against Rochdale in round 2. Plymouth were in front here. Macaulay Gillespie with a header with only 8 minutes played, counted out 4 minutes before half-time by Cesar Azpilicueta, the Chelsea captain, with a back heel from just inside the 6-yard box. 1-1 the score here on TalkSport 2 and over on TalkSport. It's already been a fantastic day for Kidderminster Harriers. They lead West Ham by 1-0. What a story that would be. Are we going to get a big upset here this afternoon? At the moment, this game in the balance, but Chelsea dominating possession in the second half. Plymouth reduced to sitting back and trying to hit their Premier League opponents on the counter-attack. Grant with the awkward header back towards his own penalty area. In the end, it's collected from the sky by Cooper, who bowls it out to his left-hand side, and Conor Grant flicks it over the head of Azpilicueta and out for a Chelsea throw. Azpilicueta, the goal scorer, Chelsea's record overseas appearance maker. His contract expires in the summer. I think he will get a new one, Sam Parkin, won't he?
Well, there's a number of players out of contract, isn't there? So that's a hot topic of conversation, but yeah, Azpilicueta, I mean, we wanted to win that trophy in the next week or so, because that's the complete set, I understand. So, yeah, what a servant he's been, and there's no sign of him letting up. Barcelona rumoured to be an interested party, but they need to get, of course, Rudiger, probably Christensen, Azpilicueta, all of the aforementioned over the line.
It looks unlikely in the case of Christensen. Interest from Germany, both the big teams there, Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich, and from Barcelona as well. Here's Hudson-Odoi into the penalty area, flicks the ball into the path of Kovacic, and now Azpilicueta on the edge of the box, forward to Ziyech. Ziyech with a little drop of the shoulder, he's going to try and shoot left-footed, it's blocked. Comes back from the Moroccan, and then a lovely back heel from Mount. Ziyech all the way across the face of goal, and Lukaku sliding in, couldn't quite reach, and it goes behind for a goal kick. Great play again from Mason Mount in the build-up.
It really was, yeah, Ziyech and Mount. It's beautiful, intricate football. Strikers' union here. I think Ziyech can pick out Romelu Lukaku slightly better here. We'll get a better view now on the monitor. Well, I don't know. I think he can maybe just play that to Lukaku rather than put it into the space. I'm being very harsh on Ziyech there, but I think he's got the capability to do so. It looks like maybe Lukaku should do more. Don't think he can.
So Lukaku remains on 8 goals for the season following that £90+ million move from Inter Milan. Here's Hudson-Odoi on the edge of the area, low shot from 20 yards out, straight into the arms of a grateful Cooper. They are dominating now though, Chelsea, Sam Parkin.
Yeah, it's got to do better there. Hudson-Odoi, perfect position for him to angle a strike on the target, find that far corner, but just doesn't catch it at all. And yeah, we're seeing, obviously, Plymouth need to improve with the ball. You cannot withstand this type of pressure building on your defensive players. They need to have a period where they can get a breather, otherwise it becomes relentless. The biggest problem, if the ball gets transferred left to right, this right-hand side, Ziyech and Mount, Azpilicueta, a little bit surprised that they haven't adapted the tactics somewhat to just try and stop Mason Mount from running this game. I think Jordan Houghton could almost sit on him, you know, for this second half, but they've kept the same way.
Well, this is Argyle's 3rd game in 11 days. Chelsea, of course, have had a break of almost 2 weeks since their Premier League win over Tottenham. That will surely come into play in the second half as Lukaku goes through on goal. And really good keeping by Cooper, meeting the Chelsea striker all the way, sliding and diverting the ball clear with the right leg, just as Lukaku was about to pull the trigger.
That's where he's pretty unique. If you don't have a midfield shield or pressure on the Chelsea player on the ball, he will just pin you and just push you back, Lukaku. Great centre-forward play. Knows that he doesn't have to touch the ball. He can just allow it to run across him. Knows that the space is there. Fortunately, there was just a little bit too much on the ball. Maybe flagged offside as well. But, yeah, just an indication of what he brings to the party. Even if he's not dominating games, Lukaku, that ability to roll central defenders is always there.
There's a lot of conversation at the moment going on inside the Plymouth technical area in front of us. Looks like they are going to make a change. Niall Ennis is the player who's been called back from his warm-up routine and is just getting ready for action as Plymouth come forward. Ball in towards Jethcott, cleared away by Azpilicueta, and then Rudiger uses all his strength, holding off the challenge from Garrick and playing the ball towards the halfway line. 1-1 here on TalkSport 2. We've played 11 minutes in the second half at Stamford Bridge. Mason Mount with the ball over the top for Lukaku, inside the penalty area. Lukaku was forced away from goal, still has possession. Lukaku tees up Kovacic on the edge of the area, shot blocked. Mount with the follow-up effort, blocked again, and loops behind for a corner. Really brave challenge by Wilson. Chelsea into double figures now in terms of corners.
Yeah, I think Lukaku's actually just trying to reverse that, trying to square it first time, but just didn't get any contact on the intended reverse pass. Once more, as Kovacic joining in with the first strike, Mason Mount clever outside of the right foot, blocked at source.
Hakim Ziyech with the corner. Wicked delivery, and headed goalwards by Jorginho, I think it was, 6 yards out. Not too sure how that didn't go in, but Plymouth have got it clear now to the halfway line.
Yeah, I said it wasn't desperate in the first half. It's becoming that now, you know, hanging on limbs everywhere, just about getting it away from the goal.
Here's Hudson-Odoi. Into Alonso, the goalkeeper comes out again and once again clears with the feet. Cooper, and then headed behind for another Chelsea corner. The pressure now is almost incessant on the team from League One.
The angle maybe just against Alonso. Surprised he didn't opt to try and lift that over incoming Michael Cooper, but once again the young man makes a really tidy save.
Mason Mount will play in the corner. Now Peliqueta up from the back again. Lukaku's header, and it bounces in front of the goal, and it's another back heel from Peliqueta. I think the flag has gone up this time. The celebration short-lived. I'm not sure he's ever scored 2 in a game, says Peliqueta, let alone 2 back heels, but the flag immediately went up on this near touchline, and the goal is chalked off for offside.
Yeah, a good few yards offside, I think. They win the first contact. I think it's Lukaku up. Yeah, he's left in the 6-yard box all alone. Finishes it beautifully once more. That would have been a collector's item, wouldn't it? That would have been something to spend a few hours looking up. Has there ever been 2 back heels scored by the same player in the same game? Not to be.
Certainly not a right back. Here comes the Plymouth change. Luke Jethcott, who hasn't had too many opportunities to add to his 10 goals for the season, is making way for Niall Ennis. It's a straight swap, the type of which Sam Parkin alluded to at the end of the first half. Ennis, who began his career at Wolverhampton Wanderers, was a former England youth teammate of Mason Mount and Trevor Chalobah. He gets 32 minutes to make his mark at Stamford Bridge, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, good quality replacement. You know, I spoke of that earlier. They got Hardy up their sleeve as well. I think he's been just derailed a little bit this season by a shoulder problem, but they got 4 great options, and my friend within the staff said they're very, very good characters. Doesn't matter who they go with, the 2 that come on, motivated, highly motivated, want to have an effect. There's no spitting their dummies out, and that's quite unusual at a football club. They seem to have 4 very good characters to carry the burden of scoring the goals.
You are listening to live coverage of the FA Cup on TalkSport 2, thanks to Neutrogena T-Gel Therapeutic Shampoo. And at the moment, with 59 minutes played, it's Chelsea 1, Plymouth Argyle 1. Sarr looking to release Hudson-Odoi down the left-hand side. Cooper comes out to the edge of the area and gets there ahead of Hudson-Odoi. They won't want extra time, Chelsea, will they, with the semi-final of the World Club Cup on the horizon on Wednesday, flying out to the UAE, presumably minus Thomas Tuchel later today. I'm not sure Plymouth would really want extra time either, given they're just on the cusp of the playoff places in League One. They were actually 16 games unbeaten at one stage earlier this season. The departure of Ryan Lowe to Preston North End, I think, did knock them off their stride, replaced by his assistant Stephen Schumacher. A different character, Sam Parkin, than his predecessor.
Yeah, I think Ryan Lowe was a little bit more vociferous in the dressing room. Maybe took defeat a little bit harder. Schumacher, a bit more of a measured character, obviously done his coaching badges. Joined Ryan Lowe very quickly, I think, after retirement at Bury, and down to Plymouth, where they've been very successful as a duo. But I think a big show of trust, really, and belief from the Plymouth chairman. It's a big club. I'm sure they could have sought a very experienced, higher profile manager to go with. Schumacher says that he's doing a lot of good work, has done a lot of good work on the training ground.
I think he was actually announced as their new manager before Ryan Lowe had even been unveiled at Preston. They moved very quickly. He's added Keith Downing, their experienced coach, to his backroom team as well. Hudson-Odoi with a cross into the area meanwhile, aimed in at Lukaku. Again, Cooper there first, and very positive from the goalkeeper, who had a nervy start to the game, but looks to be back on an even keel now. And here comes Conor Grant down the left-hand side for Argyle. Forward to Garrick, who was offside, so it's going to be a free kick for Chelsea. 10 yards outside their own penalty area, and it remains 1-1 here on game day on TalkSport 2. Plymouth haven't seen enough of the ball in Chelsea territory for their liking in this second period. Chelsea looking to launch an attack with Alonso. On as a half-time replacement for Andreas Christensen, who himself stepped into the starting lineup to allow Thiago Silva the afternoon off. Home side continuing to dictate possession. Out the left-hand side, Alonso again. First time pass in towards Lukaku, sliding in was Scar to clear away. His positioning has been inch perfect. Dan Scar over the course of the 62 minutes we've played. What can Steven Schumacher do to change the flow of the game, Sam Parkin? Because at the moment it's almost as if Chelsea are just waiting to score.
It's difficult. I think you're waiting for your first thing is, can those substitutes have an impact in getting you up the pitch? Having a bit more fitness is the first thing, a bit more air in the lungs to try and get hold of the ball and alleviate that pressure that's building. But I don't think anything will change in terms of the system. They seem to be wanting to keep on coming forward and try and cause Chelsea problems offensively. From a Chelsea perspective, there's a lull in the proceedings right now. They've gone a little bit flat and the substitutes are getting ready, and it's the right time now. It's the right time to try and turn this game in Chelsea's favour once and for all.
Yeah, Kai Havertz is the first Chelsea sub who's being ready. Just a few yards in front of us here at Stamford Bridge. 1-1 between Chelsea and Plymouth, and a bit of a to-do on the touchline involving Antonio Rudiger and one of the Plymouth subs. I think Rudiger felt that he didn't give him the ball back quickly enough and just squared up to his Plymouth counterpart momentarily.
Laughing his head off, must be one of the young lads.
Something to remember his day out at Stamford Bridge for. Here's Alonso into the penalty area, drilling the ball low to the near post, and it's turned right across his own goal mouth by Wilson. Ziyech collects it down by the right corner flag, back heel to Mason Mount, who's away from Mayer, crosses towards the far post. Leaping was Hudson-Odoi over his head, and then Alonso on the volley, high into the lower tier of the Matthew Harding stand. It remains 1-1.
Yeah, Mount did well to dig that out. He's well marshalled by Danny Mayer all the way to the byline. Don't think it's time for that. Alonso from, yes, he's capable, but 25 yards out on the angle, just recycle it, wait for a better chance to arise. That's a waste of some pressure that was building.
Kai Havertz, who scored the winner in last season's Champions League final, is coming on to replace Callum Hudson-Odoi. A warm ovation from the Chelsea supporters. What did you make of Hudson-Odoi's performance this afternoon, Sam?
Disappointing. I think Edwards did a pretty good job up against him. Final ball lacking, and that's a surprise when I think that he's kind of turned, I wouldn't say he's good as far as turned his Chelsea career around, but he's had a good period recently. Him and Ziyech, I thought, coming into this game with a two full of confidence.
This is a purposeful drive down the left-hand side by Conor Grant for Argyle. Cross deflected behind. The roar will tell you that Plymouth had their first corner in the second half, and it's greeted by those 6,000 members of the Green Army, almost like a goal.
You can understand it today, but only in this country the corners get celebrated like goals. Incredible.
Jordan Houghton trotting across to take it, just whipping up those Plymouth supporters behind Kepa Arrizabalaga's goal. First corner they've had in the second half, only their second in the game. And it will be Houghton who set up the opening goal, who delivers it. And it's a good punch away by Kepa Arrizabalaga under some considerable pressure inside the 6-yard box. Here now is Garrett, back to goal, plays it out to the right-hand side. Deep cross by Camara, and the header straight into the arms of Arrizabalaga from Scar. And Arrizabalaga has launched it from one end to the other, and Havertz is into the penalty area. Ziyech in support. It's a super tackle, a really good tackle, but Ziyech is frustrated. He's just kicked one of the FA Cup adverts behind the goal that Kai Havertz didn't play him in, Sam.
Well, that was a good chance at one end. There were three players pulling around the far post. Had that cross been deeper, may have allowed a better chance on goal for Plymouth. And then, what a clearance from Kepa, but all the hard work done by Havertz. Has to square it there for Ziyech, I feel.
You can understand why Ziyech is frustrated. Kovacic riding a couple of challenges on the edge of the penalty area, playing it into Ziyech. Could be a chance here for Chelsea. Ziyech with a shot blocked again right in front of goal. Havertz with a header into the gloves of Cooper.
Yeah, what they do well there is just not go into ground. Ziyech always going to try and manufacture the space infield to bend it left-footed towards the far corner. Stayed on their feet, those two. I think it was Grant and probably Gillespie closing him down. Did fantastically well just to shepherd him and then get the block in and take the sting out of the drive.
The tackle for the earlier chance where Ziyech was left frustrated that Havertz didn't play him in, I think was by Joe Edwards.
Yeah.
Really important challenge as Ryan Hardy, Plymouth's top goal scorer, is about to come on. Here's Lukaku, edge of the area, into Mason Mount. Keeper comes out, Mount lifts it across him. Havertz at the far post, into the side netting. Once again, the Plymouth goal leading a charm life. The offside flag is up. Not sure if it was against Mount, who had the initial effort, or Havertz on the rebound as Hardy comes on to replace Jordan Garrick, Sam.
Yeah, another good opening. I think Mount went a fraction too early. Lovely little over in the approach play between him and Lukaku. Just left it for his teammate, but had gone a little bit too soon and definite offside. Yeah, Hardy and Jephcott was the strike force really for Plymouth last season for long spells. Obviously Jephcott off the pitch now, but Hardy, very tricky customer, hard worker, works the channels, very good at running with the ball, getting the team up the pitch. So he is definitely someone who can do a similar job to Camera, I would suggest, but further up the pitch at taking players out of the game, taking players on. And that's probably why Stephen Schumacher feels it's time for him now.
When he started the season, Ryan Hardy in terrific form. 10 goals in his first 13 games. He's only managed to add a couple since then. The former Rangers youngster, but he's on here to spearhead the Argyle attack for the final 23 minutes, plus potentially extra time. 1-1 the score on game day on TalkSport 2, with commentary from Everton against Brentford coming up once we're finished here, whenever that may be. Here's Danny Mayer making his way towards the Chelsea penalty area. They've just seen a bit more of the ball in an attacking position in the last 5 minutes, Plymouth, and it goes, and it's a header just wide. Wicked delivery again, and it was Panucci Camera climbing highest inside the 18-yard box. No real conviction with the header, and always going wide.
They're living a little bit dangerously, Chelsea, because the ball in from Edwards is a good one, but again, two players around the far post. If Camera doesn't get good purchase on that, if he can flick that towards his teammate, Ennis is in.
On ball over the top of the Plymouth defence. Lukaku picks it up on the touchline and then rolls it into the feet of Kovacic. Now Havertz inside the area. Plenty of blue shirts to aim at. One is Ziyech at the far post. Didn't make clean connection with a header. And it's swept upfield by Danny Mayer, back helping out that Argyle defence. Here's Jorginho, though, for Chelsea. You sense a goal could be coming. Azpilicueta in the right wing position. Plays the ball into the feet of Ziyech, who crosses left-footed, but straight into the arms of Cooper. Not the best delivery by Hakim Ziyech.
It wasn't, but you're still expecting someone to come across the eye line of the goalkeeper. That's got to be one of the forward players' job there. They know that it's probably going to go into that space. Yes, it's bending towards the goalkeeper, and you may not get there, but what it does do is make that take for the goalkeeper a lot tougher than it was.
It's the first time these two have met in any competition since 1989 in the old Division 2. Their first FA Cup meeting in 85 years. Plymouth taking the lead. For those of you just tuning in the 8th minute, a header from Macaulay Gillespie from Jordan Houghton's free kick. Chelsea level 4 minutes before half-time. A backheel finish from their captain Cesar Azpilicueta, and here he is inside the area again, Azpilicueta, and he got shot away from a very tight angle. Diverted behind by Cooper at the near post.
Yeah, all he could do, again, Azpilicueta, he's stretching a little bit. It's a good forceful run down the side of the left-sided centre-half. Couldn't wrap his right foot around it to bring a teammate into play, so sensible to go for goal, and Cooper once more stands up to it.
Ziyech with the corner, Rudiger forward from the back, so too Alonso, punched away by Cooper. Kovacic push it back into a dangerous area, and the shot hammered over by Malong Sarr, left-footed into, well, almost the top tier of the Matthew Harding stand. That was a poor effort from Sarr.
Yeah, it's a good chance as well, and I don't think it sits up in the worst shape for him. It's bouncing, but I think he just gets his knee over that ball, just hits the target. I mean, it's a good sight of goal he's got there. There's not players in the way of him. It's a bad effort, bad attempt.
1-1 it remains. Only 19 minutes of normal time to play here on TalkSport 2. And having survived an early storm at the start of this second half, Plymouth Argyle from League One have looked a bit more promising in the final third. Having made those 2 changes up front. Niall Ennis and Ryan Hardy now leading the line for the visitors. Adam Randall will be the latest man called off the bench very shortly. You get a tremendous view of what's going on in the 2 dugouts here low in the main stand at Stamford Bridge. Certainly Stephen Schumacher has been a bit more animated than Arnaud Michels, who's taking charge of Chelsea this afternoon in the absence of Thomas Tuchel following a positive COVID-19 test. Gillespie into the penalty area, and Kepa has to come out there to close the angle on Hardy. So the naked eye looked offside, but the flag stayed down, and that's an important intervention from the goalkeeper. Still on the attack here, Plymouth. Cross into the penalty area, and not a convincing clearance away by Sarr. Completely shanked it. Out of play for a throw down by the right corner flag.
Yeah, best chance they probably conjured since the goal, I would say. It comes from Ryan Hardy coming very wide. It's one of those attacking customers who is happy to come deep, go wide, doesn't stay central in the centre forward position, and he's not tracked. When he links the play, runs towards goal, and that's where the next pass from Gillespie goes. Good stop from Kepa. Had to come out quickly. Big save.
Plymouth looking to get themselves in front for the second time, but good defending by Jorginho. Here's Lukaku spraying the ball down the left-hand side, asking for Kovacic to burst forward. Plymouth help it back to the goalkeeper Cooper, who clears upfield. It's a low sun now around Stamford Bridge. That might make it a bit awkward for the 2 goalkeepers. Here's Azpilicueta down the right-hand side for Chelsea. Ziyech coming infield, away from Grant, looking for Lukaku. Can he get a shot away? Rolls it into Mason Mount instead, and that's a wonderful save by Cooper. Mount with a left foot shot, arrowing towards the top corner. Cooper, full length to his right-hand side, turns it behind.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Wonderful Lukaku hold-up play. Hasn't done that enough today, but when Mount joins in, I think he's just going to steer it towards the far post, opts for power, and that's the best from Cooper so far. What a save up to his right, great strong right arm.
With the corner, looking for Lukaku, but again commanding from Cooper, grabbing the ball from the air. As I mentioned already, he started nervously, but certainly has grown in confidence and stature, Mike Cooper, as the game has gone on. 1-1, Sam, with 16 minutes to go.
Yeah, no, he's been formidable in this second half. Really has. First half, spilt a few early on. Big day for him, but he's pulled out some brilliant stops to keep it at 1-1 in this second period. And they look like they're growing. They're definitely growing in confidence now. They're having much more of the ball.
Here's Maya, 10 yards outside the Chelsea penalty area. Away from Jorginho, onto his right foot, Maya. Just looking for a gap to try and play it into inside the box. Mason Mount back defending. And the cheer will tell you it's another Plymouth corner. Good play by Maya, but not much movement ahead of him.
No, but he's terrifically composed. He's almost got the ability of a higher league player, so that's what you need for today. That composure on the ball, those drops of the shoulder there, almost taking the Chelsea players by surprise, I would say, because technically excellent player, Danny Marin, wins his team the corner when some of his other teammates may have just been too rash to get that in or given the ball away.
Alton to take the corner in front of the away fans. His brother Joe, a Chelsea coach amongst them, but it's a poor delivery straight into the arms of Arifa Balaga, who again wanted to get Chelsea on the attack straight away. Saw that he didn't really have an out ball, and in the end bowls it short to Malong Sarr. And here's Alonso just inside his own half, chips it forward all the way though to Cooper. And Plymouth Argyle will look to build from the back themselves. 1-1 here. Over on Talk Sport right now, it's still Kidderminster Harriers 1, West Ham 0. We've got another live FA Cup commentary coming up at 3 o'clock here on Talk Sport 2. Frank Lampard's first game as Everton manager. Brentford the visitors. Let's get the team news with our commentator Joe Shannon.
And Lampard starts with 5 changes today. Coleman, Keane, Michaelenko, Allan and Gordon return. Calvert-Lewin is injured. Ali and Van der Beek cup-tied. 3 changes for Brentford, including the return of David Raya in goal. Roerslev and Beck Sørensen also return. And Thomas Frank is in the dugout again after recovering from COVID-19. We're live on Talk Sport 2 with myself and Kevin Campbell, the former Everton striker, from 3 Alex.
Should be a great occasion at Goodison Park. It's certainly been a great occasion here at Stamford Bridge, where the European champions Chelsea is still being held by League One Plymouth Argyle. 1-1 the score. Kamara plays the ball into the Chelsea penalty area, and there could be a chance here from the edge of the box for Edwards, who's hammered it high over the bar and behind for a goal kick. And here comes another Argyle change, and it will be Adam Randall replacing Danny Mayer. He was a doubt, Randall, after being taken off with concussion against Doncaster last weekend, but has made a recovery. He was the supporters player of the month in January. What will he bring, Sam Parkin?
Well, I know he's been terrific since Schumacher's taken charge. One of the picks really in the squad in terms of his consistency. Looks like he's going to play as a number 8. He can play as a number 6 alongside Jordan Houghton, but looks like he's just going to mirror the position at least that Danny Mayer was playing. But local lad again, and very, very highly regarded.
Here's Hakim Ziyech, lovely take from the sky, and he gets away from Grant into the area. He's being tugged back by Grant. The referee tried to play the advantage, and the end pulls it back for a free kick right on the corner of the penalty area on this near right-hand side. And this is where Plymouth Argyle have looked vulnerable at times in the second half, defending set pieces. Hakim Ziyech in the sky blue footwear, about to take the free kick. I think it will be curled into around about the penalty spot. That's where Lukaku has taken up station. Malong Sarr trying to make a nuisance of himself as well. So too Rudiger, plenty of height for Ziyech to aim at. With 12 minutes remaining of the 90. 1-1 at Stamford Bridge here on TalkSport 2. You sense this could be a big moment in proceedings for Chelsea and for their League One visitors. Ziyech has certainly had plenty of time to work out where he wants to deliver it, and it's headed over the crossbar via a Plymouth defender for another corner. It's a wicked delivery once more by Ziyech.
I think that's another really good sight of goal for Azpilicueta. Makes good contact. It's probably going to find its way towards the far corner of the net if it doesn't get the deflection. Good chance again.
Just the 14 corners for Chelsea now. Ziyech in towards the penalty spot. Might come for Alonso. Left-footed volley back into a dangerous area. Sarr with a header. And I think the goalkeeper there would probably have claimed it, and it was almost headed out of his gloves by Edwards. It's going to be another corner. 15 corners now, Chelsea. 1-1. But they are knocking on the door here, the home team. Mount with a high ball into the area. Havertz header towards the corner. Blocked again by the Plymouth defence. Then Ziyech with a left-footed effort. Blocked again on the edge of the area. Now it's defending Sam Parkin of the last-ditch variety for Argyle.
It is. I mean, yeah, so many corners for Chelsea. They're just about standing up to it.
Oh, lovely ball into the area, though. Havertz with a shot left-footed. And it's turned into the side netting by Cooper. The flag was up anyway. Once again, smart goalkeeping from the Argyle number 1. Havertz just didn't quite time his run to perfection.
No, mixing up the play now, though, going long at times, trying to search out runners in beyond Plymouth's back three. Havertz does it there. Kovacic finds him. I thought the first touch was poor. Actually took him wider and meant that he had to run round it to try and get his stronger left foot on the ball. It was a poor finish in the end.
Here's Randall out to the left-hand side for Argyle. Conor Grant takes over, plays it forward to Ennis. Ennis just on the edge of the penalty area, snapping away at his heels with Jorginho, but he's still got the ball, Ennis. Strong play, and in the end the cross is too close to Aretha Balaga, and he plays it out to Kovacic. Timo Werner about to come on for Chelsea. Here's Kovacic into the centre circle, plays it forward looking for either Lukaku or Havertz. Neither of them really on their toes, and the ball goes all the way through to Cooper.
Yeah, I don't think that's a pass that he's been trying to put into the space. I think he's looking for the feet there of Lukaku to try and take it in his stride, but a bit of a breakdown of communication between Havertz and Lukaku means that neither of them take responsibility to take the ball.
One or two signs of frustration from the Chelsea fans to our right. Here comes the change. Lukaku had started to make his way over to the touchline, thinking it might be him making way, but it's actually Mateo Kovacic who is replaced by Werner. Werner on the score sheet in that third round win here against Chesterfield. This has been a much more arduous afternoon, Sam Parkin, for your former club.
It has. Here we go, Werner straight into the action.
Gets to the byline.
Offside.
The flag goes up. It would have been another Chelsea corner.
Yeah, and they defended really well in this second half. It has got desperate at times for Plymouth, but been very impressed with the three centre-halves, in particular when they've come under real pressure, and the goalkeeper. That said, Michael Cooper's been excellent. You know, when the other players, the midfield players, have just been running out of legs a little bit when they've been asked to defend, been excellent. And Chelsea haven't done enough. They haven't carved open Plymouth and created enough golden chances in this second half. Before the break, that wasn't a criticism. In this second half, certainly so. Let's see if Havertz and Werner can produce the goods in the 10 minutes that remain.
Do they deserve extra time, Plymouth Argyle?
Oh, 100%, I would say, right now.
Here's Lukaku inside the centre circle, holding off the attentions of Houghton. Now Ziyech, back inside his own half, Hakim Ziyech, and Argyle pressing high as the tall, long-limbed Rudiger takes over for Chelsea. Azpilicueta down the line to Ziyech. Mount ahead of him. Little ball with the outside of the foot from Ziyech into Mount. Low cross, blocked behind by the Argyle goal scorer Gillespie, and it will be another Chelsea corner. Another corner from this near side. Cue Hakim Ziyech to deliver. Mike Cooper stands 2 yards off his line with both arms in the air, trying to make himself big. The Argyle goalkeeper is headed away as far as Malong Sarr, who nods it down for Werner over on the left-hand side. Here's Sarr again for Chelsea. Azpilicueta, their goal scorer, forward to Mason Mount, the standout performer in blue. Now Ziyech down the right-hand side. There are 4 or 5 Chelsea players to aim at in the centre. Ziyech with the left-footed ball towards the far post, and what a header that is, with Lukaku waiting to pounce. It was Dan Scarr again with the all-important intervention.
It's magnificent. It's so difficult to stop Hakim Ziyech when he's in flight like that. He can go on the outside, little drops of the shoulder, but when that delivery comes, it's flighted perfectly. I think it's Lukaku and Alonso who are poised at the far post, but Scarr, as you said, using all that, 6'4", 6'5" frame, wasn't offside. I'm not sure what the linesman seen there, but it's still a great header from Scarr.
You're listening to live coverage of the FA Cup on TalkSport 2, thanks to Neutrogena T-Gel Therapeutic Shampoo. And Plymouth Argyle 6 minutes away from taking the European champions into extra time. 1-1 here, and over on TalkSport right now, it's still Kidderminster Harriers 1, West Ham United 0. Kidderminster in the non-league, minutes away from a huge giant-killing exploit as Ziyech plays it into the penalty area. This on the weekend that started on TalkSport at Old Trafford last night. Middlesbrough beating Manchester United on penalties. And when the draw was made, Sam Park, and it didn't look particularly attractive. How wrong were we?
Yeah, what a start it's been. Can we get a couple of stories already to kick us up on the Saturday? I mean, they're doing very well at the moment. Like I said, the amount of good chances for Chelsea have diminished really as this half has wore on. Half chances, we've been talking set pieces in the last 15 minutes.
And again, we're going to talk at the moment about an afternoon when their £90 million striker hasn't delivered, even against League One opponents. Here's Mason Mount, plays it down the line to Ziyech. Lukaku waiting to make me eat my words. In comes the corner, and again headed away by Scarr. Kept in play over on the far side by Werner, but Plymouth with enough white shirts there to clear the danger. He's been excellent, Dan Scarr, at the heart of that Argyle defence. Here's Mount now on the edge of the area. Ziyech in space to his right. Ziyech onto his left foot, shoots, blocked by 2 Argyle players, and it goes behind for a corner. I think actually the last touch was probably off Jordan Houghton, but there were 2 Argyle defenders willing to throw themselves in the way of the shot from Ziyech.
Yeah, I mean, that one's not going in. I think that's going to stray wide of the far post, but once more, Mount and Ziyech right-hand side, they're carving open the chances.
Alonso with the corner, headed away by Scarr again. So many heroes in white. As the clock ticks into the 86th minute, and maybe Argyle can counter-attack. Stopped down that right-hand side in the end by Jorginho, and the visitors have to settle for a throw. Stephen Schumacher, their manager, arms in pockets, pacing up and down inside the technical area. It's like a coiled spring, ready to burst into life, Schumacher, as he shares a joke with his coaching staff. And those Argyle fans away to our left won't care if it means a later return journey home, if they can take this game to the extra half an hour and maybe penalties. Who knows? Azpilicueta back to Kepa Arrizabalaga. Plays it short to the edge of the area. And Jorginho. Here's Azpilicueta again. Plymouth trying to force the error, but Chelsea very composed, playing the ball around inside their 18-yard box and brought forward now down the left-hand side by Malang Sarr. Here is Havertz, the spindly German international. Down the line to Alonso. Lukaku making a run towards the near post. Havertz on the overlap. Crosses into the area, blocked behind again. 18 corners, Sam Parkin for Chelsea.
No, they've defended them much better, I would say, certainly in the second half of this second period. Yeah, first half they allowed Chelsea too many attempts, but defended them well.
You'd almost feel sorry for Argyle if Chelsea were to score here. Towards the near post, Havertz flicks it onto Alonso. Again bounces behind, this time for a goal kick, and Steven Schumacher clapping his hands together, urging the League One side for one last push into extra time. 87.5 minutes on the big scoreboard on top of the Matthew Harding stand away to our right. Chelsea 1, Plymouth Argyle 1 here on TalkSport 2.
You're just looking at that five coming back now into position. Havertz, Werner, Mount, Lukaku, Ziyech. I mean, it's not the elephant in the room, but yes, Mount's producing at the moment. When are we going to start getting to get consistent performances from some of them? It is incredible.
And I'm told it is a source of frustration, even within the dressing room, certainly from the more defence-minded players. They feel that, by and large, they're doing their job. But at the moment, the forward players, one in particular, probably isn't.
Well, it's the same conversation. I think that's been had all year. I can think back to Frank Lampard's tenure. You know, some really good performances where they weren't convincing enough in the forward positions, and nothing has changed in that regard. You'd have thought Havertz and Werner, having had that year, 2 years now, is it, to bed in, they'd be producing consistent performances, the calibre of these two. And yes, Lukaku as well today. I wouldn't say that looks like there's an issue, but he looks well off his game.
As Havertz into the penalty area again, Cooper comes sliding out, collapses on top of the ball, the green-shirted Argyle goalkeeper. I mean, it's probably a microcosm of Chelsea's season that their goal today, to save them from what would have been an embarrassing defeat, has come from their captain Cesar Azpilicueta.
Yeah, and the Achilles heel clearly has been these home games where they have dropped points. You know, 8 points I think you could talk of, 1-1 draws over the winter, where they made stacks of chances, enough to win countless games, but kept on falling because they couldn't get that crucial second goal. And that's because not enough forward players banging form, getting the goals.
Well, the ball into Gillespie was undercooked, and Chelsea can counter. Lukaku into Timo Werner, one-on-one Werner. Oh, a brilliant challenge again. Sliding in this time was James Wilson. How good have these Plymouth Argyle defenders been? Timo Werner would have had a clear shot at goal, and from nowhere, Wilson comes sliding across the ground and nicks the ball away.
He's too hesitant now, Alex. Is he not? He pulls out of it, it looks to me. There looks like he's in. There may be a coming together. He may get there at the same time. I thought he was hesitant there. I thought it was played nicely by Lukaku. But yes, again, great defending, never giving up. But Werner has to be sharper.
Well, the 90 minutes pretty much up here. We are going to go into added on time with the teams locked at 1-1. There will be 2 added minutes at the end of the 90, and then the spectre of extra time looming large on this FA Cup 4th round tie. The Plymouth Argyle fans urging their team on away to our left. 1-1 here, and minutes remaining at Agborough. Kidderminster Harriers 1, West Ham United 0. West Ham on the verge of an embarrassing upset, despite the fact they've brought many of the big guns off the bench for the second half, but still unable to find a way past their non-league hosts. Can Chelsea find a way past Plymouth Argyle in the 90 seconds of added time that remain here on TalkSport 2? 1-1. And it's the Argyle supporters making all of the noise inside Stamford Bridge. And the floodlights bursting into action over on the far side. Here is Rudiger inside the centre circle. They might get one more chance, Chelsea, to win the game in normal time. Here's Hakim Ziyech down the right. Flicks the ball into the penalty area, but the goalkeeper Cooper again there first, ahead of Azpilicueta, who was the furthest man forward in blue. And maybe Sam Parkin, that will be Chelsea's last foray forward in the regulation time.
Yeah, possibly. And I tell you what, credit to the home supporters. for sticking with the team and not getting on their back today, because I think it would have been easy to display some of that displeasure for the reasons we've just been talking about, Alex. Against League One opposition, yes, Plymouth Argyle have been excellent, not good enough from Chelsea.
It's Hardy into the penalty area, looking to tee up Ennis. Out comes Afbel-Equator, is put back into the box, and it will be picked up by Afbel-Equator, the captain. Rufa Balaga almost caught in no man's land for a moment. Ziyech forward to Mason Mount, and it's smashed into the stand on this near side by James Wilson. Time pretty much up. We've played the 2 added minutes, and we need the extra half an hour. Nothing to separate the champions of Europe and League One Plymouth Argyle in the 90 minutes. The visitors taking the lead, courtesy of Macaulay Gillespie's first goal for the club on 8 minutes, a header from a Houghton free kick. Chelsea back on level terms, having hit the woodwork 3 times. Afbel-Equator with a back heel. They had chances, Chelsea, in the second half. They had 18 corners in the 90 minutes, but they couldn't find a way past Mike Cooper and this stubborn Argyle rearguard. Full time at Stamford Bridge with half an hour plus maybe penalties to come. Chelsea 1, Plymouth Argyle 1.
Commentary team of Alex Crook and the former Chelsea and Swindon striker Sam Parkin there. That was not the plan, was it, for Chelsea? We said at half-time that in the second half, after getting a goal just before the half-time break, that should put them in the driving seat to push on and get more goals in the second half. We saw a disallowed goal, and Chelsea brought on Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, and that stubborn defence for Plymouth did the job, didn't they, Sam?
Yeah, I don't think anyone in the stadium would have anticipated this going to extra time once Chelsea got it to 1-1, and the attacking impetus that they showed towards the end of the first half and at the start of the second half subsided somewhat, and that was I wouldn't say it was comfortable, but it wasn't desperate defending from Plymouth towards the tail end of that second half. So I think Chelsea, they need to look at themselves, especially those substitutes that you put on the pitch 15, 20 minutes, wherever it is to go, get the rest of the lads out of trouble, use your quality to get the game done and dusted in normal time. And not good enough, really, not good enough from an attacking sense. But the other side is some brilliant defensive performances from Plymouth, none more so than the goalkeeper, Michael Cooper, who was superb in that second half. One save from Mason Mount, I'm sure will be shown countless times over and over again this evening, because it was a wonderful stop. So brilliantly defended from Plymouth for the majority of that second half, but Chelsea, a lot to be desired, really, in terms of an attacking sense.
Yeah, we'll talk more about extra time in just a second. I've got to tell you that in the game between Kidderminster and West Ham, Declan Rice has, broken Kidderminster hearts. Not fully. They're not completely out of it. It's 1-1 in the last few seconds of added-on time at the end of the game over on TalkSport. So it could be that game also heads into extra time. And, I mean, what a great game Kidderminster have played. But towards the end there, even they were really pressing West Ham as they tried to get it out from the back. And it seems that Declan Rice has got behind them and scored. And there we go. It's ended 1-1 over on TalkSport, so it will go to extra time as well as this game. We mentioned at half-time, Sam, that, if this did go to extra time, it would definitely favour Chelsea, what with them being the fresher team, and, we assume that teams in the Premier League will be a lot fitter than the lower leagues in the EFL. But do you see Plymouth maybe causing an upset here?
Well, it's still a tough ask. You would expect one of these chances to fall to someone, to show a little bit more coolness, a bit more quality in front of goal. So I still stick by what I said. Havertz, Werner, surely a chance will fall their way, and one of them will be able to take it. But I think it gives the forward players of Plymouth Argyle, they made 2 changes up there. Gives you a bit of a licence, I think, extra time to try things when there's tired bodies. For the forward players in particular, yes, you want them to keep hold of the ball in the final third, but it's not the worst thing in the world if the ball goes out for a goal kick, or you miscontrol one, trying to take someone on, trying to be a little bit more forceful. So you never know, but of course you've got to favour the home side to still get the job done.
Well, we'll hear the first half of extra time in just a second. Just so you know, our next game is Everton versus Brentford at 3 o'clock. Of course, Frank Lampard's first game in charge of Everton. We will bring you that at the conclusion of this game, whether it goes to extra time or penalties. We heard the team news from Joe Shannon just before, Frank Lampard picking his first Everton team there as they take on Brentford. Loads of other games coming up across the TalkSport network later today. We've got Swansea versus Blackburn in the Championship here at 5:30 on TalkSport 2. Burnley-Watford over on TalkSport, the exclusive Premier League commentary of the day, and then back over on TalkSport 2. It's Tottenham versus Brighton. That one is an 8 o'clock kickoff. But for now, it was 1-1 at full-time. Chelsea versus Plymouth. We head into extra time. Your commentary team continues to be former Chelsea and Swindon striker Sam Parkin and Alex Crook.
And the extra half an hour has just begun here on TalkSport 2. Plymouth Argyle in their white shirts, white shorts, green socks, shooting from left to right for the first 15 minutes. Chelsea in their largely blue strip with the white socks. No change in personnel. So the two teams as they were at the end of the 90 minutes. 1-1 the score. And it's Plymouth Argyle looking to start extra time on the front foot with Conor Grant again raiding down that left-hand side. Couldn't quite slide the ball through for Hardy, and here comes Ziyech on the counter for Chelsea. It's a teasing ball into the area. Werner's control was poor though, and it's been cleared away by Wilson. Just allowed the ball there almost to bounce off his body, Werner, and then Wilson comes across to clear Sam Parkin.
Yeah, he's been a bit slack, hasn't he? He's taken a bit of time to get up to speed. That can happen, but it's been on for probably 10, 15 odd minutes now. I was a little bit disappointed that he didn't stride onto that pass from Lukaku and finish just prior to the full-time whistle, and there, touch getting away from him once more.
Yeah, Chelsea bringing on Alonso, Werner and Havertz over the course of the second half. Here is Werner down the left-hand side. Only one Premier League goal to his name this season. Alonso with the ball into the area. Sails over the head of Lukaku and cleared away by Gillespie. Plymouth taking the lead early in the game, courtesy of Gillespie. Cancelled out 4 minutes before half-time by Azpilicueta, the Chelsea captain. One really good save in the second half from Mike Cooper, who's been excellent, the Plymouth goalkeeper, turning a power-packed effort from Mason Mount behind for a corner. That was probably as close as Chelsea came to a winner in regulation time. And this is a competition that has smiled on them in recent years. They'd only won one FA Cup before 1997. They've won 6 since then. Thomas Tuchel becoming the first manager to lead a team into the final of the FA Cup and the Champions League and the League Cup. Not here today though, due to that positive COVID-19 test, Thomas Tuchel. I'm sure wherever he is keeping an eye or an ear on proceedings, maybe listening to us here on TalkSport 2, he won't be particularly pleased, Sam, with what his team have produced.
No, I'd be disappointed, definitely. That job's not done. They're not readying themselves for the Club World Cup, so still very much in the balance here.
Mason Mount with a shot from long range, just wide. Mike Cooper wasn't going to get there as the ball flashed past the right-hand post and behind for a goal kick. He's been just about, Mason Mount, the one bright spot for Chelsea.
Yeah, he's been very consistent throughout. Looks like he may just be struggling off the back of that strike there, just whistled past the far post, but he didn't have as much joy, I would say, in the second period as he did before the break, where him and Ziyech were linking up wonderfully well, but they seem to do a better job of counteracting that Argyle in the second period, but still looks the brightest Chelsea attacker by some distance.
They're going to make 2 more changes here. The visitors, Ryan Broom is the first of them, coming on for Panucci. Camara, he must be absolutely exhausted, Camara, as he slowly makes his way off, having got through so much energy and effort over more than 90 minutes now. And the second change sees Conor Grant making way for a player who really announced himself in the last round, scoring the extra time winner against Birmingham City. Ryan Law, Devon Bourne, left back, will fill Grant's left wing back position. And it's the second round in a row in which Plymouth has taken higher league opposition to extra time, and it was Law, Sam Parkin, who provided the winner at St Andrews.
Yeah, what an afternoon for him. He'll thoroughly enjoy this. Nothing changes about the system, really. Broom's a good technical attacking midfield player, number 10, capable of getting you a goal, and Law's gone over there to fill in for Conor Grant, who's just departed, giving them the balance on the left-hand side. And yeah, should be feeling confident after, I understand, appearing from almost nowhere, really. He's been well down the pecking order, I think, subsequently to score that goal at St Andrews when they were badly hit by COVID. So another great afternoon for another local lad.
The FA Cup has a habit of making heroes of the most unlikely recipients. Here is Alonso, crossing from the left-hand side, blocked behind by Edwards, and out for a Chelsea throw. No real urgency about Chelsea's play, though, in the first 6 minutes of extra time.
No, and Alonso's on the ball now, just trying to prise Plymouth open, but he's getting the ball quite deep and just lackadaisical, relaxed, playing the ball square.
Here's Kai Havertz, couple of step-overs on the edge of the penalty area, into Werner, maybe a chance for Jorginho, rolls it out to Azpilicueta, the Chelsea goalscorer, and he's had it nicked away by Randall. Plymouth Argyle looking to counter-attack, but well, one back by Ziyech, who then does a complete circle midway inside the Plymouth half, hammers his cross against Randall, but he's got it again here. Ziyech over on the far side, just helps it forward to the overlapping Azpilicueta. That's a good ball into the area, but Havertz couldn't get on the end of it, and again the white shirts there to clear the danger. I mean, it is defence against attack, but Argyle will feel they can hit Chelsea on the counter-attack. Here's Lukaku into the penalty area, slide tackle by Scar, and we're one shy now of 20 Chelsea corners.
Yeah, what they've done well is when there hasn't been loads of pressure on the Chelsea passer, they've actually stopped Lukaku from getting strikes away. So he's been able to kind of roll them essentially into the channel, but they've been able to match that movement stride for stride. And when the attempts come in, it's been blocked very, very quickly. He's not had a good sight of goal yet.
Sam Aguez is about to come on for Chelsea, having had quite an uninspiring career in England so far. Meanwhile, from the corner, the referee has given a free kick to Argyle, so the Chelsea change will now be made. And it's the end of the road for Mason Mount, Sam Parkin.
Yeah, he hasn't looked comfortable after that strike a few minutes ago, so yes, the game's in the balance, but no point in taking any kind of risk with who has been your most consistent attacker in recent weeks and months. So I've been impressed with him again today. Looks incredibly sharp right now. But yeah, he's got a little niggle.
He's just shaking his head as he makes his way straight down the tunnel, Mason Mount. So a chance for Sam Aguez to impress. We've played 8 minutes of extra time here on TalkSport 2. It's still Chelsea 1, Plymouth Argyle 1. As soon as we're finished here, we will be hot-footing it to Goodison Park for live commentary of Frank Lampard's first game as Everton manager. Brentford, the visitors in the fourth round of the FA Cup. Broom's cross is well blocked by Malong Sarr. And out of play for an Argyle throw down by the corner flag. In front of that Matthew Harding stand, banners reading Drogba legend, Super Frankie Lampard. Speak of the devil, and JT, captain, leader, legend. Chelsea fans paying homage to John Terry. Houghton with the scoop ball into the area. Almost fell very kindly for Ryan Law. In the end, he's forced wide and wins a throw. And it will be a throw-in taken level with the penalty area by Law on that left-hand side for Argyle. As yet more green and white balloons make their way from the away supporters into the West London skyline. Azpilicueta, the stooping header clear. Just a flatness about Chelsea in this extra time period so far. Alonso being put under pressure, plays it back to Aretha Balaga. They are closing down from the front here, Argyle, and making it difficult for Alonso to play his way out, but in the end manages to find Jorginho in space, middle of the Chelsea half. Here's Azpilicueta into the centre circle, and he rolls it out to the right-hand side. And Sam Aguez. Now Ziyech jinks into the penalty area, crosses, it's headed towards Cooper's goal by his own player, I think, and he was impeded. Cooper as he punched the ball clear. Free kick to Argyle. Nervous moment initially for the Exeter-born goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think it was just Saul or Lukaku just leaning into the goalkeeper, trying to cause a spillage and a scramble. Yeah, Saul it was. I mean, that substitution's a bit of a strange one for me, because it was very offensive, the Chelsea line-up in their second half towards the tail end, and for extra time, Mason Mount and Havertz essentially playing as attacking midfielders. Saul, another holder. I mean, we know that Ross Barkley isn't high up the pecking order right now, but a poor reflection really maybe on his form right now. Get him on, get another creative force on the pitch.
There has been a suggestion in the last 24 hours that maybe Barkley might go out on loan with the European window still open in the likes of Turkey. You feel he doesn't need a change of scenery really to revive his career. He's warming up at the moment, Barkley, away 2 hours left.
It would seem a more like-for-like and sensible change when you're chasing a game. Sal's gone and playing as an advanced midfielder alongside Havertz, but has he got the skill set really to produce a moment of creation or a goal that Chelsea desperately need?
Chelsea 1, Plymouth Argyle 1, here on Game Day on TalkSport 2. As Alonso attacks down the left-hand side, chips the ball into the penalty area. Havertz forced away from goal. Could be a chance for Timo Werner. The flag is up. It was blocked again by Scar anyway. Well, I've lost count, Sam Parker, of the number of last-ditch goal-saving blocks that this Argyle back line have made.
Yeah, I mean, good little ball approach from Alonso, clipped into Havertz. That's the decision, I think. Havertz just strayed offside a fraction, and Werner's shot wouldn't have counted, but it was blocked anyway. Like, as you said, I mean, it's a good chance for Werner, I think, to steer that towards the far post, bend it, went for the side foot, and it's quite easily repelled from Dan Scar.
4 minutes of the first period of extra time remaining. Chelsea 1, Plymouth Argyle of League One 1. It's been that way since 4 minutes before half-time in normal term. Athpelicueta equalising to cancel out Gillespie's first half header. Here is Ziyech coming in field, finding Alonso just outside the box. Alonso out to the left-hand side, and Werner. Can he get a shot away here? Timo Werner goes for the byline, pulls it all the way across the face of goal, and there was nobody in blue to tap it in. I think eventually the assistant answered the calls of the Argyle fans behind the goal that Werner had actually taken the ball out of play before he drove the ball across the 6-yard box.
Yeah, exactly that. Just a little bit over elaborate in the build-up there. Edwards matching him stride for stride, was able to smash it across the 6-yard box. Escaped everyone out the other side, but quite comfortable, Plymouth, in this first half of extra time. Not been too much on Michael Cooper's goal once more. At the moment, it looks like it's kind of meandering towards spot kicks. Chelsea, the onus is on them, surely, to improve in the second half.
And we saw at Old Trafford last night on TalkSport what can happen when a lower league team take a Premier League team all the way to penalties. Some fantastic spot kicks from Middlesbrough as they knocked out Manchester United. Over on TalkSport, remember, right now, extra time as well. Non-league Kidderminster at home to West Ham. No replace, Sam Parker, in the fourth round. Will Plymouth be a bit disappointed by that? Would they fancy the return game at home park? As Havertz goes down inside the penalty area, all eyes on the referee. Did he have his shirt tugged? That's the question. The answer at the moment seems to be no.
Well, I definitely think there's a tug. Alex, whether it's enough to send Havertz to the floor, I'm not sure. And whether it would have had any kind of relevance, because I think the ball's probably spinning towards the goalkeeper in any case. Probably wouldn't have made it up. Would have been harsh.
Yeah, well, Plymouth be a bit disappointed they didn't get the chance of a replay at home park.
Oh, they will be, but they knew that was the case, didn't they, before they came here today? Yeah, I mean, that would have given them a hell of a chance in front of home supporters if they're not to make it through today, but what a chance they've got right now. I mean, they're matching Chelsea, really. There's not anything really coming in an attacking sense for Plymouth Argyle, but they don't need it right now because Chelsea can't come up with the equation to end this game.
And it's a big game, this, for Chelsea, because the Premier League title has gone. I think we all know they're not going to catch Manchester City. Even Thomas Tuchel himself perhaps would admit that. Here's Werner on the edge of the area, crossing in towards Lukaku, who heads it goalwards, but limply into the arms of Cooper. They've got what on paper looks like a favourable Champions League draw against Lille on the horizon. They've got the World Club Cup as well coming up this week, but based on what we've seen here, this isn't a performance that will strike fear into any opponent.
No, it's been lacklustre. Of course, they're still fighting on a number of fronts. It could still be a really successful season, but some of the recent performances, I say recent, going back a couple of months now, I spoke about those home games here. Yes, it was Manchester City, but I thought that was a poor reflection of the quality that Chelsea have at their disposal. I think they have to do better in those big games. That's what some of the forward players I've spoken of have been brought into the club to do, to close that gap. And right now, they're way away from where they need to be, I suppose. And for the expectation that the supporters, the ownership have at this club. So, yeah, things aren't desperate here because it's a very good coach and they're still in all the competitions. They could very well win a few pieces of silverware, but the performance levels, especially of the forward players, some of the bigger signings, is very alarming.
Just a few seconds of the first period remain. There will probably be one added minute, I would imagine. 2, in fact, at the end of the 15. Chelsea 1, Plymouth Argyle 1. A reminder, we will be bringing you full live commentary of Everton against Brentford in the FA Cup. Frank Lampard's first game in charge at Goodison Park. As soon as we're finished here, at the moment, this is looking like it will need a penalty shootout to decide the victor. Here's Alonso, though, crossing low into the area. Lukaku had made a dart to the near post, but cleared away by Broom. And picked up now by Malong Sarr for Chelsea, 15 yards inside Argyle territory. Here's Rudiger, turning away from Ennis and playing the ball out to the left-hand side, and Jorginho. Alonso's got some space to work with. One opportunity maybe in stoppage time at the end of the first period of extra time for Chelsea to lead for the first time on the afternoon. And here's Havertz, low into the area and steered goalwards by Alonso into the bottom corner. Argyle hearts are broken in stoppage time at the end of the first half of extra time. Well, we had an unlikely goal scorer in Azpilicueta in the first half, and it's another defender who's come up with the goods now. Marcus Alonso to maybe drag Chelsea into round 5. Chelsea 2, Plymouth Argyle 1.
Well, it comes from absolutely nowhere. They look well set, Plymouth Argyle, but well done Kai Havertz. Bit of movement out to the flank, then it's a sharp 1-2. I tell you what,
was he offside?
Havertz is offside.
This may well be chalked off by VAR because it looked as if Havertz had strayed beyond the last Argyle defender, and it's just flashed up on the big television screen on top of the Matthew Harding stand. They are checking the goal for a potential offside, and well, you thought, Sam, and I thought that he was offside, Havertz.
I did. I mean, like I said, Havertz kind of took the balls by the horns there. Yeah, it's disallowed. Oh, no, it's given.
The goal is given.
Oof.
I think Stephen Schumacher may have something to say about that.
Oof. Chelsea
do lead in stoppage time at the end of the first period of extra time.
Yeah,
Marcus Alonso with the goal.
Looking at the monitor there, it looked like he just strayed a fraction too early. There must have been someone on the far side just playing him on.
Very close. But the last act of the first period is Marcus Alonso side-footing Chelsea in front for the first time on the afternoon. An FA Cup winner with the Blues back in 2018. Is that the goal that takes the European champions into the next round? Half-time in extra time. It is Chelsea 2, Plymouth Argyle 1.
Alex Crook there, and the former Chelsea and Swindon striker Sam Parkin. Sam, you've played at all levels of the game. If you're on that pitch now and you've had that disappointment of maybe a controversial goal like that, how is it going to affect the team? Is it going to spur you on? Is it going to make you angry and want to sort of make, if you think it's been a wrong, make it a right? Or is it going to be disheartening?
I think at this stage, when you're at half-time, in extra time, at one of the top clubs in the Premier League, you've got nothing to lose now. You know, it's disappointing, of course, but you can have a right go in these last 15 minutes. It's more than ever a time for a hero. And I spoke about it's not the luxury, but the freedom it gives the forward players to try things, the substitutes, the guys that are a little bit fresher. They need to step up now for Argyle and try and get this game to penalties. That's their best chance. The forward players that are a bit fresher. Broom, who's just come into the piece, he's technically a good player, because it's been about containing Chelsea and just defending their goal for the last half an hour or so. So has someone got it in their armoury to do something, go in the other direction and produce a goal which would take it to penalties? But yeah, I wouldn't be too despondent, because that's liable to happen, and that was a wonderfully well-crafted Chelsea goal, which we haven't seen enough of this afternoon.
Absolutely. Well, don't forget, we've got Everton versus Brentford coming up. Frank Lampard's first game in charge of Everton, also in the FA Cup fourth round. That one kicks off at 3 o'clock, straight after the culmination of this game. So for 15 more minutes of added time at the end of this game, we're heading back to former Chelsea and Swindon striker Sam Parkin, alongside our commentator Alex Crook.
And what if the League One team got left in the tank taking the lead very early in the game, courtesy of Macaulay Gillespie. Cancelled out 4 minutes before half-time in normal time by Cesar Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso right at the end of the first period of extra time, repeating what his fellow fullback managed, giving Chelsea this slender advantage. We saw Sam Parkin, Stephen Schumacher call the players into a huddle, the Argyle players, as Lukaku picks it up on the edge of the area. Again, he's forced away from goal. Chelsea now attacking the Matthew Harding stand away to our right. Ziyech trying to bamboozle Ryan Law. Law standing tall and playing the ball out for a throw. What will Schumacher have been saying to his side?
I think don't be too despondent about conceding, Alex, and try and show a little bit more offensively. They have to, whether that'll be tactically sorry, or some of the individuals, like I just alluded to, are a bit fresher, having a bit more of an impact. We've not seen anything of Hardy. Ennis has been quiet as well. I thought the two front players were good for Plymouth, the two that started the game, so have those two got something in their makeup to just turn this in Plymouth's favour, but just seem to have run out of belief a little bit going forward. We're not seeing them threaten anywhere near as much as they did in the first half.
Well, I mentioned it in the second half. Chelsea on the back of a 13-day break, Plymouth having played twice in the last 10 days. That was always going to play a part, given the golfing class between the two squads anyway. And in the end, that looks like it may well be the case for the team from League One, who've certainly more than played their part this afternoon here on TalkSport 2. 2-1 Chelsea lead, and we've played 90 seconds of the second half of extra time.
It's a good example, actually, of how kind of pulling Argyle into a full sense of security, that goal. It looked like they were going absolutely nowhere. All of a sudden, little bit of movement from Havertz, quick 1-2, and nobody tracked the run of Alonso. So it's those little fine margins I think you probably get away with in League One. Alonso not tracked, and then the cutback is perfect for him to sweep into the net. So it's that quality that the Premier League team were always liable to have.
They have got a corner though here, Argyle, attacking the end in which their fans are gathered, and it's headed behind by Lukaku. You do feel if they are to get level, then maybe a set-piece situation might be their best hope, Argyle. Those fans behind Aretha Balaga's goal still in excellent voice as the corner is delivered in and punched up, not really away by Aretha Balaga. Anywhere will do for Chelsea, and it's collected down the right-hand side by Law, trying to link up with Broom, his fellow substitute. Across comes Alonso, the man whose goal at the moment is going to separate the sides, and he concedes a throw in down by the left corner flag. Law into the feet of Ennis, gives it back to Law. All of a sudden a bit of spring in their step again, Argyle. Here is Randall, dispossessed on the edge of the area by Saul, and Chelsea will counter with Werner, but it's a poor ball looking for Havertz, intercepted by Houghton, and Houghton plays it forward to Randall. Can they conjure one big chance to equalise in the final 11 minutes of extra time here at Plymouth Argyle? 2-1 Chelsea lead on TalkSport 2. Still 1-1 over on TalkSport between Kidderminster and West Ham United. And a reminder, after we're finished here, we'll have commentary of Everton against Brentford. Here is Law into the penalty area, and they haven't really dealt with it, Chelsea. In the end, it's scooped away by Rudiger. This has been a good spell, good couple of minutes, Sam Parkin, for Argyle.
It has. I'm not sure if that was the best bit of skill I've ever witnessed from Law, if he completely miscontrolled that, bamboozled two Chelsea players.
And he skipped away from Sauna. Gwesny delivered a teasing ball into the area, comes down on the edge of the 18-yard box, struck by Broom, punched away. He's going to come for Broom again, and is that a handball as Hardy tried to sweep it goalwards? Stephen Schumacher absolutely convinced that a Chelsea player used his arm there. In the end, Aretha Balaga collects the ball inside the 6-yard box. He had two strikes at it, Broom, but it was a third effort from Ryan Hardy, Argyle's leading scorer, that Argyle feel struck an arm of a Chelsea player. VAR is the cry of the travelling supporters. You've just got a second glimpse of it, Sam Parkin.
It looks like Malang Sarr just stands tall and just goes, go on, beat me with that strike, put it either side of me because I'm not budging. That's great defending. Tell you what, Ryan Broom's touch actually let him down, but the way that he adapted to get that strike on the target, first class. He's very good from that distance, actually, so that's a good chance for Argyle.
Trevor Chalobah is being readied by Chelsea to try and give them extra defensive cover. Argyle have actually approached this second period of extra time in a really positive manner. Seem to have found an extra gear or two that we didn't really see in that first period or for much of the second half when Chelsea were dominant in possession. Forward it goes towards Lukaku, headed away by Gillespie, the Argyle goal scorer, and now picked up inside the centre circle by Hardy. Ennis takes over, forward to Hardy, into the box Hardy. Across comes Malong Sarr, strong defending by the Chelsea centre-back, and he clears it up towards the halfway line where Havertz has nicked it away from Edwards. Suddenly an extra intensity about the game, Sam Parkin.
There is, and unfortunately, Ryan Hardy just doesn't have that explosive pace when he's played into the channel there. He's kind of a galloper. He gets the team up the pitch with his kind of ball manipulation, but doesn't have that explosive speed to maybe run onto little through balls like that. So shame it wasn't maybe the other way around and Ennis doing the running on that occasion. But yeah, good response, definitely a good response. But again, you've got nothing to lose now, have you? You might as well lose 3-4-1. They've given an outstanding account of themselves. Don't leave any regrets out there in the last 15 minutes of extra time. Go for it. Go and try and get this to penalty kicks.
Trevor Chalobah is coming on for Azpilicueta, his goal just before half-time, settling the Chelsea nerves after Argyle had taken the early lead, courtesy of Macaulay Gillespie's header. And Marcus Alonso in stoppage time at the end of the first period of extra time with the goal at the moment that will keep Chelsea in the hat for the fifth round. You can hear that fifth round draw live on TalkSport around about 20 to midday tomorrow. Plenty more live football to come between now and then, including Everton against Brentford. That's live next here on TalkSport 2. If you want the comprehensive around-the-ground service, you can check in with Dan Windle and the team at Selhurst Park, where Crystal Palace are welcoming Hartlepool. Jeff Stelling's Hartlepool, I heard him interviewed on Breakfast this morning. He'll be watching from the director's box. And if they can put on half as good a performance as Plymouth Argyle have here, that might not be plain sailing for Crystal Palace. The lower league side have certainly not disgraced themselves here at Stamford Bridge. And still time, still 7.5 minutes to force this game into a penalty shootout, and again they would probably be deserving of it. Here's Broom, the Peterborough loanee, chips across into the area, headed away by Rudiger. Ennis, lovely turn on the edge of the box, then Rudiger slams it against the striker, and that was good goalkeeping by Aretha Balaga, getting there just ahead of Hardy as the ball looped up dangerously inside the 18-yard box.
Yeah, very commanding, good concentration from Kepa. I mean, Ennis's touch was beautiful. I think it surprised him somewhat. He seemed a bit hesitant maybe to spin and let fly. But definitely a good period. Can they conjure an opportunity? That's the next step.
I wonder if Stephen Schumacher might be just a little disappointed that Argyle weren't really able to play with this intensity for much of the second half of normal time. Had they have done, they may have given Chelsea and that back line and Kepa Arrizabalaga more questions to answer. On an afternoon when once again Chelsea's defenders, not just by keeping the opposition at bay but by scoring, have really bowed out the front men. It's been another largely disappointing performance from the attacking players, with Lukaku in particular struggling, leading the line for Chelsea. Here's Sam Naguez, midway inside his own half, away to our left. Nobody is leaving Stamford Bridge early this afternoon. Here is Chalobah now with the dreadlocks on the halfway line, forward to Havertz, who's got room to turn inside the Argyle half, and he's got Ziyech on the overlap, but he comes in field. Havertz, positive run from him into Timo Werner. Werner inside the penalty area, shoots right-footed, blocked by Edwards. He might get another go here. Werner pokes it to the edge of the area, and now it's played out to the right-hand side, and Ziyech just inside the box. Ziyech up against Randall, away from Randall, crossing low into the box, but again Argyle defending well. Collected by Jorginho, now wearing the captain's armband in the absence of Azpilicueta. Good 1-2 between Ziyech and Lukaku, and then Ziyech with the left foot. I think he was trying to curl one into the top corner, much like he did against Spurs a couple of weeks ago. This one ends up behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, tired effort. I mean, they're just managing the game now, Chelsea. They seem content to just stroke the ball around. Sal's very important in that, just secure in possession. Came forward eventually there, but yeah, Ziyech's radar off for once. He's been okay. Ziyech, you know, he's looked to do the right thing. It's not always come off in terms of his finishing or his final ball, but he's still been a good outlet for them and been exciting. He's, I think, tried to do the right things. Oh,
it's given away by Malang Sarr, and here's Hardy into the penalty area, tripped by Sarr. It's a Plymouth Argyle penalty. With 4 minutes of extra time remaining, Sarr trying to atone for the initial error as Hardy went one-on-one with Aretha Balaga. He tripped the Argyle leading goal scorer, and the referee straight away, Sam Parkin, said penalty.
Well, it's just lackadaisical, sloppy, call it what you want from Sarr, and then the tackle is ugly. It causes the collision. I think it's rash. He's desperate to get back in. It's a penalty. I wasn't sure live, Alex, but having seen it again a couple of times, that's a penalty.
He was going away from goal as well. Aretha Balaga had come out to narrow the angle. Well, what a huge moment on FA Cup fourth round weekend. The Chelsea players still protesting that it shouldn't be a penalty. VAR will be making absolutely certain.
It's a mess, Alex, because you're right, Ryan Hardy makes a bit of a hash of it.
And the penalty does stand. So a chance here for Plymouth Argyle with 3.5 minutes of extra time remaining to get back on level terms and possibly send this fourth round tie into a shootout. It will be the man who went down, Ryan Hardy, Argyle's leading goal scorer, in front of 6,000 travelling Green Army members, all on their feet in the shed end. Hardy against Aretha Balaga to surely take this game to penalties. Aretha Balaga bounces on the line. Hardy down to the left-hand side, and it's saved by Aretha Balaga. And maybe that is Argyle's last chance to equalise. Hardy puts his head in his hands. It wasn't a convincing penalty. Aretha Balaga guessed the right way, and it remains Chelsea 2, Plymouth 1, as Chelsea come forward on the counter and win a corner. So disappointing, Sam Parker.
No, what a signal for him. Feels like probably almost worse than missing in a shootout. What a chance. I think there was the conversation between him and Ennis about who was going to take it. I think Ennis was definitely up for taking the responsibility. Just didn't catch it, did he? Telegraph which way it was going to go to Kepa. Once you do that, has to be a strong side foot and has to be right in the side netting. It was neither. Kepa's an expert in those situations, makes a very comfortable save.
Chelsea have a corner with 2 minutes plus stoppage time at the end of extra time to play. They lead by 2-1, and it's a moment for Ryan Hardy when he just wanted the ground to open up and swallow in the referee. Simon Hooper is just delaying the corner being taken, speaking to a couple of players, including Rudiger, inside the Argyle penalty area. Ziyech belatedly with the corner, headed away by Dan Scarr. Have Argyle got anything left now, physically or mentally, after that penalty save from Aretha Balaga? So often the villain in the eyes of Chelsea fans, but certainly the hero here. The yellow card has been brandished. I'm not totally sure who to, Sam Parkin. Just waved in the air by Simon Hooper, but Argyle have got a free kick.
Yeah, Ryan Hardy, again, you know, similarly to the mistake from Sarr, it was from his willingness to go and close, and that Sal just not aware that Ryan Hardy, relentless in his pursuit of winning the ball back, does fantastically well there. So he's the reason, again, they've got an opportunity here. Ryan Hardy, good hard work on the back of what must be such a bitterly disappointing moment for him.
I've just seen the television director indicate there will be 2 added minutes at the end of extra time, 30 seconds of regulation extra time to play. In comes the free kick. punched away again by Kepa. That's been the go-to decision in the second half from the Chelsea goalkeeper, and it's worked to pretty good effect. Werner heads it clear. Ziyech can't get there ahead of Gillespie. We're about to move into those 2 added minutes here on TalkSport 2. Don't forget Everton against Brentford still to come from Goodison Park. Frank Lampard making his toffees bow. Just confirmation of those 2 added minutes. But it's Chelsea who have the ball with Timo Werner just inside his own half. Moves into Plymouth territory now, and he's been out-muscled by Ennis. And Argyle will come forward again. Hardy down the right-hand side, trying to put the pressure on Malong Sarr, who will be as relieved as anybody inside Stamford Bridge that Hardy didn't score that penalty, and he's cleared it away here, Sarr. Sal Nguez up to the halfway line. Wilson launches it forward for Argyle. Good header by Chalobah on the edge of the Chelsea penalty area. Brought down though by Ennis. They're still attacking here, still looking for an equaliser. Will it come down for Hardy inside the box? Not quite. Not quite. Defended this time by Sal Nguez, and Ziyech comes up to the halfway line and again gives it away. They can't keep the ball, Chelsea. Ziyech in the end slides in and wins it back off Houghton, who hobbles away from that challenge. They've given everything, these Argyle players. Looks like it won't quite be enough to take the game to a penalty shootout. It's probably an outcome they would deserve, but that missed spot kick from Ryan Hardy at the moment looks decisive. And here's Havertz, edge of the penalty area, into Werner. Werner just trying to keep the ball on the byline. We've got less than a minute remaining in added on time at the end of extra time. Here's Alonso, who looks like he'll be the Chelsea match winner. Out to Werner, just keeping the ball Sam Park in Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good few minutes for Plymouth after the disappointment of the spot kick. They've thrown a few more bodies forward, some desperate defending from Trevor Chalobah in particular. Thank goodness that he's been on the pitch for Chelsea to make a couple of big headers. Big challenge on Ryan Hardy, just has made his way into the box as well, but looks like the opportunity's gone, unfortunately.
Here's Werner now. 5 yards outside the penalty area, tried to play it forward to Lukaku. The pass was away from Lukaku, and Argyle might get one last opportunity to launch the ball forward. Headed away by Rudiger, and there goes the full-time whistle. Well, the FA Cup can be a heart-maker. It's been a heartbreaker for Plymouth Argyle and for Ryan Hardy in particular this afternoon. Plymouth in front early on. Gillespie with a header after just 8 minutes, cancelled out right on half-time by the Chelsea captain Cesar Azpilicueta. We went into extra time. Alonso in stoppage time at the end of the first period put Chelsea in front for the first time on the afternoon, but Plymouth gifted the chance to take us to penalties. Hardy brought down by Sarr, his spot kick saved by Kepa Arrizabalaga. The League One side gave it their all. Chelsea just about into the fifth round of the FA Cup. It finishes here at Stamford Bridge after extra time. Chelsea 2, Plymouth Argyle 1.
Quite with a roller coaster there. We'll bring you Everton versus Brentford in just a second. We do though need to pick our man of the match here on TalkSport 2, brought to you by Neutrogena T-Gel.
Man of the match on TalkSport 2 with Neutrogena T-Gel. Get your head in the game and show dandruff a red card with the on-target action of Neutrogena T-Gel Therapeutic Shampoo. Contains coal tar. Always read the label.
Sam, lots of players not up to scratch, but who would you go for the man of the match today?
Oh, I think it'd be a toss-up between Cooper in the Plymouth Argyle goal and probably Dan Scarr. I think Dan Scarr on that second half display, you know, when the ball just seemed to be attracted to him, you know, he was just repelling every delivery, loads of last-ditch stuff, but could have gone for any one of that back three, but he was probably the standout. Magnificent.
There we go. Our man of the match brought to you by Neutrogena T-Gel Therapeutic Shampoo, the official partner of TalkSport 2's FA Cup coverage.
Man of the match on TalkSport 2 with Neutrogena T-Gel. Get your head in the game and show dandruff a red card with the on-target action of Neutrogena T-Gel Therapeutic Shampoo. Contains coal tar. Always read the label.
I can tell you heartbreak for Kidderminster. West Ham scoring in the final minute of added time there to win the game 2-1 at Agbra, but we need to get straight over to Goodison. It's Everton versus Brentford, the FA Cup fourth round, alongside former Everton and Arsenal striker Kevin Campbell, your commentator Joe Shannon.
John, thank you very much indeed. Underway at Goodison Park, Everton 0, Brentford 0. A minute played here on Merseyside, and a raucous atmosphere at Goodison Park, as you would expect, as Frank Lampard begins his journey at Everton Football Club. Immediately, Seamus Coleman looking to burst through the middle, but it's through to David Raya. I'll give you the team news in this FA Cup fourth round tie in just a few moments. As I say, 90 seconds played and it is goalless, but the most remarkable reception for Frank Lampard, his first game in charge as he emerged from the tunnel at the base of the main stand. Z cars playing in the background, the great roar of 40,000 or so Everton supporters. Former Everton striker Kevin Campbell is with me today. It was some moment.
It really was. As I said before, you know, it will be an emotional time for Frank Lampard. You know, he wants to put the team on the front foot, which is really important, and to do that you need the 12th man involved. He was their favourite, and you know, fingers crossed Everton could perform today.
Frank Lampard, who is the man tasked with restoring Everton to their former glories. Remember, this is the club whose motto is nothing but the best is good enough. It's a chilly grey day at Goodison Park. The floodlights are on. Up ahead, we are sat right on the halfway line, smack in the middle of the main stand, surrounded, packed in by Everton supporters. The noise pre-kickoff was absolutely deafening, and you can bet if Everton get themselves an early goal here, the roof really will come off. Let me give you the two sides then. 0-0 live on TalkSport 2, still very early stages here. Frank Lampard has made 5 changes to his first Everton lineup, 5 changes from the side that was beaten here by Aston Villa in Duncan Ferguson's one interim game. Pickford in goal, Keane, Holgate and Godfrey, the 3 centre-halves, with Coleman and Mykolenko, the Ukrainian, making his home debut as the wing-backs. Alan and Andre Gomez, the 2 in the middle. Gordon and Gray, either side of Richarlison up front. For Brentford, David Raya is back in goal, and Thomas Frank is in the dugout, by the way, today. He's recovered from COVID-19. Ayer, Janssen and Beck Sørensen, the centre-halves. Rørslev and Henry, the wing-backs, with that familiar 3 of Jensen, Norgard and Janelt in midfield. Tony and Canos, the 2 furthest forward for Brentford. The fourth round of the FA Cup. What drama we've seen so far today across the TalkSport network. Drama of a different kind today, of course, Kevin Campbell, but there really is an electric sense of anticipation about this game.
There is an electric sense, and what Everton have got to look at is Brentford are a very capable team, obviously a Premier League team, good side. They'll be very aggressive in the way they play, and they would come here thinking that they could win. So Everton have to have their head on, and they have to perform.
Part of an extraordinary day of football across the TalkSport network. Commentaries from the FA Cup, of course, and the Premier League and the Championship later on TalkSport 2. Everton 0, Brentford 0. I can see Frank Lampard pacing up and down in his technical area down below us as Gordon crosses from the right. Richarlison controls with his back to goal. He goes down under the challenge of Ayer and Janssen. That combined challenge, the 2 giant Brentford central defenders. The referee says no penalty as Everton come forward now, midway inside opposition territory, with Andre Gomez wearing gloves. He goes back to the halfway line, and Michael Keane, who angles the pass out to the near side, and Alan. The start from Everton, as you'd expect, an up-tempo, high-energy one, and really spurred on by the Goodison crowd, but it is still 0-0.
Everton have started on the front foot. They've started pretty aggressive. I like the way they've been trying to turn the Brentford centre-halves. Get Richarlison on the run, get Demarai Gray using his speed, and Gordon using their speed. I think that's going to be a key feature of the game today.
And that's Beck Sørensen taking a throw for Brentford high over the halfway line. Ivan Toney flicks the ball on, and Sergi Canos, who's playing up front alongside Toney today. Brian Mbeumo not in the squad. And it's Brentford who win a throw deep inside opposition territory on the near side of the field, as Brentford in the first half in their red and white striped shirts, black shorts and black socks, play from right to left towards the Gladys Street end. Everton in their royal blue shirts, white shorts and white socks, playing from left to right towards the park stand. Mads Beck Sørensen takes the throw for Brentford, high into the penalty area. It comes off Alan, could fall for Ayer, whose shot is deflected behind, and Brentford win a corner. It's still 0-0. Couple of early goals in the 3 o'clock kickoffs to tell you about in the FA Cup. Both of them have come at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City top of the Premier League 1, Fulham top of the Championship 1, and earlier, of course, on TalkSport 2, Chelsea edged past Plymouth by 2-1, and West Ham won 2-1 at National League North Kidderminster, live over on TalkSport. Corner to Brentford, very early stages here. Matthias Jensen will take it, right-footed, high, in-swinging, headed away by Ben Godfrey, and in the end, Everton get themselves a free kick, 0-0.
Yeah, I think when you look at the way Brentford set up and the size of their centre-halves, they're going to fancy themselves on any dead ball or any set piece that comes into the box. Everton done pretty well to defend it, but there was just a little infringement in the box. I just think Everton need to step it up and keep turning those centre-halves.
Charlton 0, Wimbledon 1 in League 1. Wimbledon, who started the day without a win in 10. Andre Gomez in possession for Everton, midway inside his own half. And now Mason Holgate takes up the charge. We all thought Frank Lampard would play with a 4-3-3, which of course has been his familiar setup at his previous clubs at managerial level, Chelsea and Derby County, but it is a back five, or at least 3 centre-halves with the 2 wing-backs for Everton today. Kevin Campbell, what's the thinking behind that?
I just think he's looked at his personnel and he feels a lot more comfortable with the 3 centre-halves back there. Maybe it's to match Brentford up for the game today, but I think he's going to get probably a better defensive display, especially through the centre of the park, if he's got 3 centre-halves there.
Quite a billowing wind here at Goodison Park, but we're being kept nice and warm by the sheer volume of people around us, and legroom is at a premium today, especially for a big striker like you, Kevin Campbell, but we'll do okay. We'll get through it, won't we?
Joe, I'm rocking 2 chairs at the moment. Definitely.
Well, hang on. We might well have extra time and penalties, of course, before the end of the day. And the first 2 ties of the day, of course, both dramatically going to extra time. But in the end, the 2 Premier League sides, West Ham and Chelsea, both coming through. Everton 0, Brentford 0. 8 minutes played in the Frank Lampard era at Everton. And now it's Godfrey surging forward into opposition territory. He's got the young man, the 22-year-old Michaelenko, out to the left-hand side, and now Godfrey rolls the ball into the penalty area towards Richarlison, and he was very sharp with his feet there, Richarlison, turned on a sixpence, left-footed effort, skewed it rather, just wide of goal.
Really good movement by Richarlison, good ball into him in the box. He uses that smarts just to get away from the defender, left-footed shot past the post, really good move by Everton.
Crystal Palace keen to avoid any FA Cup drama at home to League 2 Hartlepool today. And Crystal Palace have the early goal. Mark Gehi, the central defender, has got that. 71 places between those 2 sides at the start of the day. Well, what drama we brought you on TalkSport and TalkSport 2 this lunchtime. Yesterday, of course, on TalkSport with Middlesbrough knocking out Manchester United. Still plenty to come today. 5:30 on TalkSport 2 will bring you Swansea against Blackburn in the Championship. That a key game for Blackburn in particular in the automatic promotion places. And at 8 o'clock, Spurs take on Brighton in the FA Cup, live on TalkSport 2. TalkSport at 6 will bring you Roy Hodgson's first game in charge of Watford. That's a trip to Burnley. And so much live football to come over the course of the rest of the weekend. Free kick to Everton here, near side of the field, just shy of the halfway line. Frank Lampard with a dark coat on, arms folded, right at the base of the main stand, just in front of the mouth of the tunnel. You know what it's like here, Kevin Campbell. It's compact, it's tight, the dugouts are tiny, the technical areas are tiny, the crowd get right on top of you, and that's just the way these Everton players should like it.
Yeah, definitely. It's this. When you actually look at this stadium, they call it the old lady at Everton, and to be able to perform here, you are a player, that's for sure. And Everton haven't really had those players who have performed to that ability so far. So, it's Frank Lampard's remit to get the team going.
Alan was trying to surge through the middle just a few moments ago. He was blocked off by Christopher Ayer, the Brentford centre-half. It all came after a poor clearance from the returning goalkeeper, David Raya. Back in goal today for Brentford. That's a huge boost for them. He was ruled out initially for 4 to 5 months when he picked up that knee problem in late October, but back in the side finally today. Richarlison, edge of the box, goes wide towards Gordon. He pulls it back towards Gray inside the penalty area. First touch was heavy, and Beck Sørensen sweeps the ball clear and away from danger for Brentford. Then Rico Henry loses possession in the left wing-back position, taken up by Seamus Coleman, the Everton skipper, and they can build again now with Andre Gomez midway inside opposition territory. Everton dominating possession, but still 0-0. Oh, and
yeah,
Godfrey's
I think
limping
Godfrey's
here.
limping here, yeah. Godfrey's limping, definitely so. Oh, doesn't look good. He's going to have to, yeah, he's going to have to come off, that's for sure. But probably didn't need this, obviously, Everton, with Godfrey. I think he was looking pretty good with his surging runs from the back. But they have started well, Everton, and they've got the supremacy of the midfield right now.
Well, here comes the Everton physio and Frank Lampard with his new look coaching staff, of course. I can see Paul Clement down below us. He's in conversation, is Lampard, with his assistant Joe Edwards, who's come from Chelsea to take that role. And he's going to be forced into a very early change. Just 11 and a half minutes into the game. 0-0 the score, and Ben Godfrey, he's lying down on his back. He's still being treated as the rain comes down, teeming down from the grey clouds here on Merseyside, and Everton are going to be forced into an early change, I think.
Early change. You've got Branthwaite and Yerry Mina, who's a fan favourite here, warming up right now. Not looking good for Godfrey at all, and there's going to have to be a change. Obviously, Frank Lampard probably doesn't need this right now, but, you know, this is something that happens in football, unfortunately.
Well, as you said, Kevin, this looks a nasty one for Ben Godfrey. He's being helped off the field by the physio. He can't put any real weight on what looks like might be his right knee, possibly right ankle.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. There's a second physio's helping him off now as well. So, you know, this obviously have to find out and work out what it is, but it's not looking good at all.
So 0-0 here live on TalkSport 2. 3 goals in the first 13 minutes at the Etihad Stadium. Meanwhile, Manchester City now lead Fulham by 2-1, and confirmation of the Everton change that is coming up. Yerry Mina for Ben Godfrey, and you'd expect that to be a straight swap.
Yeah, you'd expect that. Obviously, Mina's so experienced. He's a great size as well to really handle some of these Brentford defenders. And, you know, straight swap. Maybe Michael Keane might move his position to the left-hand side of the centre half of the three.
Well, quite a footballing weekend that we've got for you across the network, and live boxing tonight too over on TalkSport. Chris Eubank Jr. against Liam Williams, live from Cardiff. Fight Night Live underway from 8 on TalkSport, and February the 19th, TalkSport will bring you exclusive Fight Night coverage of Amir Khan against Kell Brook from the Manchester Arena. Everton on the attack. Gordon tearing down the right-hand side. Gray is in the middle. He plays it across towards Richarlison in the end. Had nothing behind the ball, did Gordon, and it's smuggled away by Brentford up towards the halfway line. Everton win it back through Michael Keane, and they'll come again. He looks tigerish. He looks tenacious does young Anthony Gordon. He's a local boy, and the home fans love that, Kevin Campbell.
Yeah, Anthony Gordon has been one of the bright sparks for Everton Football Club this season. He just took it a little bit too far forward and probably could have played it in a little bit earlier, but, you know, that's going to come from him. I think he's a wonderfully gifted young man, and he's definitely one for the future.
Great break from Janelt for Brentford over the halfway line. He's robbed of possession, though, by the tall, rangy Yerry Mina, giant figure, the Colombian, to win it back on the near side of the field. Then he has his shirt tugged. He was wrestled to the ground. That's the sort of challenge you'd love in your day.
Oh, that was perfect. That was perfect. FA Cup battle right here at Goodison Park, right in front of the fans.
Live
Excellent.
on TalkSport 2, and we've had so much of it, haven't we, across the course of the day. Kevin and I were down in the press room earlier watching events unfold at Agbra and at Stamford Bridge, and in the end, of course, West Ham and Chelsea both escaped, both through to the 5th round. But we really have seen the magic of the FA Cup in all its glory, I think, so far this weekend, and that is no exaggeration.
We have, and that was a serious challenge in the back of Richarlison.
Janssen with it. There was a clash of heads, and it was Richarlison who went down first, but then Janssen looks a little dazed by that, and he just has a quick word with the referee, Michael Oliver. Stoke lead Wigan by 1-0 in the 4th round of the FA Cup. Stoke, the 2011 finalists. Wigan, who famously won the competition back in 2013. And big away attendances, a feature, I think, of the weekend so far. The 9,000 that we saw at Old Trafford in the Middlesbrough end last night. There were 4,000 Wigan fans at Stoke today, with the League One side behind by 1-0. Nice bit of control by Frank Lampard on halfway as the ball goes out of play. He's not lost it, has he?
No, he could probably put the kit on and play, but great touch.
Still 0-0 here with 16 minutes played. Beck Sørensen with a long throw through the middle for Brentford towards Sergi Canos, the blonde-haired number 7, but he's shrugged aside by Mason Holgate, and Michaelenko with an intelligent ball threaded down the outside left channel towards Damari Gray. Ayer comes across, sliding across the turf, and knocks it out of play for an Everton throw.
Playing the 5, I think Everton have a really good balance with Michaelenko and Coleman. As long as they could keep the centre-halves intact, I think their wing-backs will get them up and down that pitch pretty well.
Well, Michaelenko, remember, is the new signing from Dynamo Kiev on New Year's Day. £17 million the reported fee. His home debut this afternoon, and he'll have a throw in front of the Brentford fans, who unusually are on right in the middle of the Bullens Road stand on the far side of the field. They're on the halfway line. Gray looking to joggle the ball inside the penalty area, and in the end he went for a spectacular half volley with his back to goal over his shoulder, but it loops over the top into the crowd, and it's a goal kick.
Damari Gray was very inventive there. As the ball bounced up over his shoulder, he tried the quick hit, just couldn't get it, keep it down and put it on target. But Everton seem to be really on the front foot here, and you know, if they keep pushing, they're due to get the first goal.
The two sides have met once this season at the Brentford Community Stadium, as Rafa Benitez's Everton reign really started to fall apart. It's Brentford's first visit here, though, to Goodison since the 1950s. There's Andre Gomez with an awkward ball, steered back high into the air, and Keane had to go safety first, nods it out of play. Brentford throw, far side there right. Brentford playing from right to left in the first period in their red and white shirts, black shorts, black socks. And forward to take it from the centre-half positions is the giant former Celtic man, Christopher Ayer. Looks for Tony with his back to goal. Tony wearing gloves. It's cleared upfield by Holgate for Everton, brought down cleverly by Richarlison. Remember, notably today for Everton, no Calvert-Lewin, he's injured, and of course Dele Alli and Donny van der Beek both can't play because they're cup-tied, but you really get a sense in the attacking positions once those three are back of what this Everton side will look like, Kevin.
Yeah, I think there's a great opportunity for the guys who are playing right now to put a marker down for the ones who are not quite in the side yet. So I think it's a great opportunity, but Donny van der Beek and Dele Alli have been brought in definitely to liven this midfield up and give it more of an attacking edge.
There's several thousand Brentford fans here today, many of them on their feet on the far side, and they're watching the action unfold right in front of them as Ayer plays a neat 1-2 with Roerslev, the right wing back. And Ayer now, good possession for Brentford as he moves forward into the opposition half. Now they go back to the halfway line, and Norgard with the yellow boots on. The Brentford fans applaud. It's a good spell on the ball for the visiting team, who have enjoyed an excellent first top-flight season in three quarters of a century so far, though their recent form is not good. They've lost their last 4. Huddersfield lead Barnsley by 1-0 in that all-championship tie in the FA Cup. Dwayne Holmes, the goal scorer for Huddersfield, a Yorkshire derby of sorts. Now here's Norgard for Brentford, shirt hanging untucked, billowing in the wind as he looks for Roerslev on the halfway line. Back to Norgard. And the game, after a frenetic start and the noise that we heard, the reception for Frank Lampard, it has settled down a bit now at 0-0.
Yeah, it has settled down. But I think part of the settling down has been the way Brentford have approached the last 5 minutes. I think Brentford have done pretty well in the way they've played the ball forward, the way they've tried to attack Everton, to be honest with you. And you know, I think they're a very capable side.
Oh, it's a risky back pass from Coleman, and the goalkeeper's missed his kick.
What a fantastic pass.
My goodness me.
That was a pass. That was a crazy situation by Pickford there. He's got a touch on the ball, and it goes to an Everton player on the edge of the box, and I called it a pass, but it was a stroke of luck.
If he meant that, then he was very calm and cool. I'm not sure he did.
He definitely didn't.
Everton get away with it. And Jordan Pickford, whose goal has been under siege throughout the season so far. Forward by Alan, up towards Richarlison, high up the centre. Richarlison is offside. Brentford get a free kick, and with 20.5 minutes played, I can see Thomas Frank just a couple of yards to the left of Frank Lampard, and Thomas Frank will definitely be the happier, you feel, of the two bosses so far, as Crystal Palace make it 2-0 now at home to Hartlepool in the FA Cup.
Yeah, I think Brentford will be, but Thomas Frank was just making some notes there. Obviously, he's seeing some little things that he's going to maybe need to cut out. Brentford need to cut some of the stuff out that's allowing Everton to get through them. I think they're getting through them maybe a little bit too easy at times. One ball is beating all three centre-halves, and that's not good.
Gordon, corner of the penalty area, out to Michaelenko on his left-hand side. Header away by Ayer from the cross, and then hooked up high into the murky afternoon skies by Canos. Not a great deal of distance on the clearance, though. Everton have still got it midway into opposition territory, but then there's a foul on the retreating Ivan Toney. Brentford have a free kick, and Coventry of the Championship lead at Southampton in the fourth round of the FA Cup. Southampton, who have been in excellent form at home in particular, but Coventry, the 1987 Cup winners, lead by a 1-0. It's all happening, isn't it? And it's one of the great weekends in the footballing calendar, and we've seen so much drama, particularly in this year's competition.
The FA Cup just is so romantic regarding results and so-called smaller teams getting results against the big boys or whatever. So it's still there. It's still romantic as any other season.
There's a throw for Everton on the halfway line there, far side the left. Michaelenko tangling. He is not the tallest of players, Michaelenko, but he's not afraid of a tackle. He made his debut at Everton against Hull City away from home in the third round of the FA Cup, that extra time victory for Everton that day. Brentford were rather more comfortable against Port Vale of League Two, a 4-1 win for Thomas Frank's side to get them to this stage. And just watching Frank Lampard, Kevin Campbell, he's barely left the edge of his technical area. He's certainly not been sitting down at all so far. Arms folded, cajoling his players, constantly issuing instructions, and maybe wanting to see a little bit more midway through the first half with it still 0-0.
100%. I think what Frank Lampard's going to be looking at is, okay, I've given the players some instruction. Can they carry it out? And obviously they've started pretty well, but for the last 5 minutes, I think Brentford are getting a real grip in this midfield. And if they keep getting a grip in the midfield, Everton might have some real problems. I think Allen's just been booked as well.
Yellow card for a foul on Ivan Toney, who was surging through the middle at great pace, using his physicality and good close control with his feet from Ivan Toney. It is a free kick to Brentford, 10-15 yards into the Everton half, just slightly to the left of the centre circle, floated forward, dinked long by Janelt, looking to set Toney away through the middle. Pickford saw it coming, and Pickford out to the edge of his area to claim. And now Everton restart with Holgate in possession, just shy of the halfway line. Some of that zip and verve has gone out of Everton a little, but Gray looks dangerous as he spins and turns with his back to goal. Halfway inside the Brentford half, infield to Alain. On his outside, to his left is Andre Gomes. Andre Gomes, the Portuguese, back to the halfway line, and Michael Keane with the blue boots on. And now Coleman, infield to Alain. Neat first-time pass out wide to the near side, the right, and Gordon, who drives infield and shoots high, left-footed, just over the top. We're right behind that. Gordon driving infield, edge of the 18-yard box, got something on that left-footed curler. Raya was backpedaling the goalkeeper, but it went over, and it's still 0-0 on TalkSport 2.
Yeah, I think the key for Everton today is going to be Demarai Gray and Gordon getting on the ball and being very positive, getting at this Brentford defence, maybe slipping Richarlison in at times, but definitely producing chances and moments like that.
Brentford have possession on the halfway line with Matthias Jensen, and he's tried to roll the ball out wide on the angle towards Roessler, but it's gone straight out of play. Livingston lead Aberdeen by a 1-0 in the Scottish Premiership today. Still goalless in both games in the Championship, Blackpool and Bristol City, Hull and Preston, but Swansea against Blackburn is our 5:30 commentary from the Championship, exclusively live to national radio here on TalkSport 2. Charlton 1, Wimbledon 1 now in League 1, Oxford 1, Portsmouth 1, Fleetwood lead at Shrewsbury, and Doncaster, bottom of the table, lead at Sunderland by a goal to nil. Sunderland in all sorts of bother this week. Of course, they sacked Lee Johnson last Sunday. Mike Dodds is in caretaker charge, but it certainly hasn't provoked an upturn in form. They trail at home to the side bottom of the table in League 1. As Ayer gets across in front of Richarlison to send it back to his goalkeeper, David Raya. And Brentford, as they love to do, will play their way out of defence and look to move up the field.
Very, very brave team, I think, Brentford, the way they try and play through teams. And, you know, they can mix it up. They can hit Ivan Toney at the top end of the pitch long, or they can play short. They're a very capable side. Here we go again.
Good touch by Gray through the